Li Mei's Sword of Destiny. Chapter 1386. Two Immortal Emperors. Countless people inclined their heads and stared at the sky, feeling their hearts trembling. These two were immortal emperors, true hegemonic characters. With a wave of their hands they could destroy a particle world. In the cities of the immortal realms, they were existences that stood at the peak of the immortal realms. It was rumored that back then, during the 100-year grand banquet of the Dongshengshan Gate, the Emperor Qianbian appeared and the two of them fought to a draw. After that, the Emperor Qianbian forcefully seized 6 prefectures, and the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had no way to defeat Qianbian. Emperor Qianbian compromised and agreed to the Emperor Qianbian to divide the 6 prefectures. This was the reason why the immortal Qianbian Gate was formed. But everyone knew that this was only a temporary compromise. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor would definitely return and ruthlessly slap the Emperor Qianbian's face. Now that day has finally arrived. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor appeared for the first time in the Emperor Qianbian's territory. Not only that, he did so in such a shocking manner. His army bore down on everything, wanting to destroy everything. Rumble. The earth in the Cloud Prefecture city rumbled as the 4 armies advanced from all directions. Everywhere they passed by, everything was razed to flat ground. The Dongshengshan Gate wanted to destroy the Cloud Prefecture city. This city was the shame of the Dongshengshan Gate. It would become part of the history of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures. After this battle, the Cloud Prefecture city would no longer exist. This time around, the Eastern Sage Immortal sect had an army of over 100,000 immortals. How shocking was that? Their presence actually caused a resonance in the heavens and earth. Even from a very far distance away, the people in the Thousand Transformations Immortal sect could already feel the majestic pressure. The troops of the Thousand Transformations Immortal sect were all extremely nervous. This battle was truly a battle of life and death. Halt! At this time, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor opened his mouth. Instantly, the 4 armies stopped at a place far away from the immortal Qianbian Gate. They did not continue moving forward. How about a game of chess? Dongsheng Heaven Emperor looked at Emperor Qianbian and said, "Since it's an invitation from an old friend, I will naturally accept it." The Emperor Qianbian smiled. The two of them were not angry at all. The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor waved his hand as an incomparably gigantic chessboard appeared in the air between the two of them. "You are the guest." "After you," said the Emperor Qianbian, extending his hand. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor didn't stand on ceremony. He immediately placed his chess piece. His chess piece shone brilliantly and exuded a sharp intent. The Emperor of Qianbian smiled and placed a chess piece as well. His chess piece shone with a purple light, like a thunderbolt that could split everything in its path. Countless people below inclined their heads as their hearts trembled. 2 immortal emperors actually had the mood to play chess? The armies below were all waiting for them. The two of them placed their chess pieces respectively. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor placed his chess piece first as he spoke, "Let's fight." As the sound of his voice faded, from each of the 4 armies of the Dongshengshan Gate, an expert stepped out. A total of 4 people stepped out, and all of them were at the initial stage of the Immortal King realm. Soldiers come, generals block them. Let's fight. The Emperor of Qianbian also placed his chess piece. Below, within the Immortal Qianbian Gate, Bai Wuya spoke, "The other side has 4 initial stage immortal kings. At the same cultivation level, who is willing to fight?" "I'm willing. I'll go." More and more people spoke. Qin Wentian's eyes flashed as he spoke, "Count me in." This time around, Qin Wentian had indeed changed into a mask. This mask exuded a unique aura, able to block out immortal senses, causing others to be unable to see his true appearance. Undoubtedly, among the people the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor wanted to kill the most, he was one of them. Hence, it was better for him to keep a low profile and not be recognized. If not, during the final battle, he might be surrounded and killed by the immortal kings. "The 4 of you head to the 4 directions and fight." Bai Wuya waved his hand. A moment later, the 4 of them, including Qin Wentian, were enveloped by immortal might. They instantly understood that they were chosen. After that, they stepped out and headed to different directions, advancing forward. Although the army of the Dongshengshan Gate had already surrounded them, they actually stopped very far away, leaving behind a vast space in the middle. Everything was being directed by the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. and the Immortal Champion Gate. The two of them seemed to be playing chess, but this was also a battle. Qin Wentian continued forward, only stopping when he encountered the Immortal King sent out by the other side. He didn't know what would happen to the other three battles, but since the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor used such a method to announce the start of the battle, in that case, those who stood out to challenge him would surely all have extremely powerful combat prowess. Everyone knew this in their hearts. For this battle he had to win and kill his opponents. The Immortal King before Qin Wentian was a middle-aged man with a long face. His eyes gleamed sinisterly as a dangerous aura radiated from him. Rumble! Abruptly, an intense light erupted forth from Qin Wentian. He stomped on the air as his silhouette vanished with the speed of lightning. In the air, numerous afterimages appeared. These afterimages resembled a heavenly rock, shuttling through the air, causing the wind to howl in their wake. The long-faced middle-aged Immortal King released his law domain. In just an instant, black fog appeared in the air as the silhouette of a giant python appeared, breathing out poisonous black fog, enveloping the rapidly moving afterimages within his law domain. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The power of God's hand gushed forth from Qin Wentian. The power of God's hand was capable of activating everything, including movement techniques. Hence, Qin Wentian's afterimages grew even more resplendent and his speed grew even faster. He was like a bolt of lightning arcing through the air. The terrifying black mist transformed into a giant python that frenziedly chased after him, yet it had no way to catch up to his movement technique. The long-faced Immortal King furrowed his brows. Qin Wentian's speed was actually so fast. Also, under the envelopment of his poisonous fog, Qin Wentian's body wasn't affected at all. From this, one could see how strong Qin Wentian's defense was. His immortal sense frenziedly gushed out, wanting to lock onto Qin Wentian. Hu Qi, the great rock silhouette shot over with lightning speed. Under the envelopment of his immortal sense, Qin Wentian was like a bolt of lightning. In an instant he gathered a terrifying amount of energy. Numerous terrifying black dragon pythons appeared around him, breathing out black fog as they shot forward, wanting to devour Qin Wentian. Abruptly, a dazzling destructive sword might erupted forth. The immortal vanquishing sword might unleashed by God's hand could lacerate everything. In just an instant, that beam of sword light expanded outwards, radiating boundless light. The darkness dragon python was directly torn apart. Even the poison chi was destroyed. The strongest beam of sword might directly blasted towards the body of the dragon python. Under the intense light, the long-faced Immortal King turned pale. He punched out with a demonic fist, but he basically couldn't block the supreme killing might of this sword. A beam of sword light directly penetrated through his body. That sinister body of his also glowed with a resplendent sword light at this moment. That resplendent light illuminated a face of despair. With a piercing sound, the body of the long-faced Immortal King was directly torn apart. A single strike, a sure kill. Beautiful. On the side of the Thousand Transformations Immortal Sect, the Immortal Kings used their immortal senses to observe the battle. When they saw Qin Wentian's tyrannical attack, expressions of excitement could be seen on their faces. This battle was won beautifully. Qin Wentian was extremely calm. He turned and headed towards the camp of the Immortal Champion Gate. Such a challenge was the most direct and also the most dangerous. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor and Emperor Qianbian were still playing chess, as though they didn't see the battle below. To them, this battle was merely the beginning. After that, the other three battles also concluded. The Thousand Transformations Immortal Sect won one battle, lost one. And as for the last battle, the disparity in strength wasn't too great. However, the Immortal Qianbian Gate won the battle and killed their opponent, while the Dongsheng Gate only heavily injured their opponent. For the first round of combat, it was clear that the Immortal Qianbian Gate had the advantage, killing two of their opponent's Immortal Kings. However, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor continued to push his chess piece forward as he calmly spoke. Mid-stage Immortal Kings, come out. As the sound of his voice faded, a mid-stage Immortal King walked out from each of the four directions, moving towards the direction of the Immortal Qianbian Gate. Who is willing to accept the challenge? Before the Emperor Qianbian even spoke, Bai Wuya already commanded from below. There was no need to say the word, accept the challenge. Soldiers come with generals, soldiers come with generals. Similarly, four experts stepped out. Two of them were original immortal kings of the immortal Qinbian Gate, while the other two were masked and came from the heavenly talisman realm. These four battles were also held in the center of the battlefield and were extremely intense. The final result was that both sides won 2 and lost 2, with 1 dead and 1 injured. The second round ended in a draw. Countless experts inclined their heads and stared at the sky. Early stage and mid-stage immortal kings had already stepped out. Next, it would be time for the peak stage immortal kings. Would the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor allow people of this level to fight? This time around, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor didn't say anything. On the chessboard, a small scale encirclement appeared, rampaging about tyrannically. Heavenly Dipper Army, come out. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, 36 immortal kings from each of the 4 armies stepped out. This time around, the entire immortal Qinbian Gate was shocked. Each of the 4 armies sent out 36 immortal kings, a total of 144 immortal kings. What a powerful formation, simply shocking. This was the foundation of the Dongshengshan Gate for countless years. They gathered many immortal king-level city lords and governors of the 13 prefectures back to the Dongshengshan Gate. On the chessboard, only now did the Emperor Qinbian discover that there were exactly 36 chess pieces from each of the 4 directions. They surrounded his chess pieces, and this caused the immortal Qinbian Gate to furrow their brows. It wouldn't be easy for them to win this round. The 4 armies of the Dongshengshan Gate clearly didn't come with good intentions. Chapter 1387. Bai Wuya also furrowed his brows. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor wanted to use such a method to start the prelude to the immortal war. He must have come prepared. The cultivation bases of these 36 immortal kings were all different, but when they moved forward, they seemed to be in a formation. The Heavenly Dipper Army of the Dongshengshan Gate might be proficient in joint formations. Bai Wuya spoke in a low voice, his words causing everyone to be startled. Formations would undoubtedly be able to amplify one's attacks. A joint formation of 36 immortal kings. It was simply unimaginable how ferocious their attacks would be. If an unaffiliated immortal king were to face it head-on, those at the same cultivation level would only be slaughtered. Unless the cultivation base of the unaffiliated immortal kings was a level higher than the unaffiliated immortal kings, the unaffiliated immortal kings had to be extremely powerful. Saint Lord, we have also cultivated a joint formation. An expert from the Battle Saint tribe transmitted his voice to Qin Wentian, his words causing Qin Wentian's eyes to flash as he replied, "How many people do we have? We have formations for 9, 36, and 81 people. But this is a formation that belongs solely to our tribe. Hence, it's impossible for us to teach it to others." Qiyu continued, "In that case, the 36 of you will form a formation and deal with one of the formations." Qin Wentian transmitted his voice. Although he could split the 36 of them into 4 9-man formations, the power of a 9-man formation would definitely be much weaker. If they were split into different battlefields, they wouldn't be able to guarantee absolute victory. In addition, it might even lead to the deaths of the experts from the Battle Saint tribe. Qin Wentian was the Saint Lord of the Battle Saint tribe. Since these people were willing to follow him out, he naturally had to be responsible for them. A 36-man formation would be able to guarantee absolute superiority over the other battle formations. We can form a formation and deal with one of the formations. The masked Qiyu spoke. The 36 immortal kings from the Battle Saint tribe were all wearing the same demonic ape masks. It was almost impossible to tell who was who. However, Qin Wentian didn't need others to be able to tell who was from the Battle Saint tribe. "Alright, you guys fight in that direction." Bai Wuya pointed to the east and said, "The opponents in that direction had the highest cultivation and should be the most difficult to deal with." Bai Wuya was quite optimistic about the people brought by Qin Wentian. They should be able to win. At the same time, Bai Wuya continued to mobilize his troops, splitting them into 3 camps. Each camp had a leader, and these leaders all had masks on. Clearly, they were people from the heavenly talisman realm. Bai Wuya's expression turned heavy. He saw that the 4 camps of the Battle Saint tribe had already started to form their battle formations. The Dongshengshan Gate had truly made ample preparations for this battle. Also, there might be other powers participating in this. A 36-man immortal king formation was something that the Dongshangshan Gate might not be able to bring out. Very swiftly, the 36 immortal kings from the Battle Saint tribe clashed with the people in the east. There were a total of 36 immortal kings, and they all stood in unique positions. They released their law domains, and as the light flashed, the 36 of them seemed to have merged into one. The cultivation bases of the people from the Battle Saint tribe were all very similar. When the 36 of them stood together, their energy seemed to be resonating as a startling light radiated from them. A towering battle might engulf the heavens and earth, wanting to destroy everything. The battle formation of the Battle Saint tribe was the Azure Dragon battle formation. Its aura was incomparably vast, shaking the heavens and earth. The shadow of a true dragon appeared, wanting to tear this space apart. Boom, boom, boom. A fearsome might erupted forth. The Battle Saint tribe activated the Azure Dragon battle formation, as boundless immortal law energy flowed into the shadow. A moment later, the Azure Dragon's shadow turned corporeal, floating in the air. Its head was incomparably majestic, its dragon claws gleamed with a cold light, and its scales gleamed with a cold light. Almost at the same time, an ancient ape appeared behind the experts of the Battle Saint tribe. The energy of these ancient apes congregated together, forming a divine ape that exuded boundless tyrannical battle might. It was none other than the Battle Saint tribe's Battle Saint tribe. In the other 3 locations of the Dongshangshan Gate, there was the Vermilion Bird battle formation. The entire sky and earth was dyed red as the boundless temperature melted everything in the world. That pair of incomparably sharp fiery wings flapped, sending waves of terrifying heat towards the experts of the immortal Qianbian Gate. There was the White Tiger battle formation. The war god White Tiger exuded a towering baleful aura, like an unexcelled king of slaughter. Its aura radiated an intense killing intent. There was also the Xuanwu battle formation. The Xuanwu divine turtle hovered in the air, resembling an unshakable gigantic castle. This battle formation was known as the Four Saints battle formation. The Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Xuanwu each formed a formation, exuding boundless might. This was the sharpest weapon of the Dongshangshan Gate, capable of piercing through the heart of the immortal Qianbian Gate, destroying everything. The situation of the battle was also reflected on the chessboard in the air. In the 4 locations, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's chessboard formed a formation, exuding boundless might. The Emperor Qianbian's chess pieces were as steady as ever. Facing the encirclement of the Azure Dragon, he used the most tyrannical stance, wanting to clash head-on with his opponent. Do you think you have a chance to break the formation? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly laughed. In fact, he didn't even glance at the chessboard below him. He was completely focused on the chessboard, and as his chess piece landed in the center, the 4 formations activated at the same time. Being too full of yourself is a great taboo. The Emperor Qianbian laughed. Below, the Azure Dragon roared, lunging towards the experts of the Battle Saint tribe. Just a single roar was enough to kill immortal kings. However, the divine ape also roared in rage. 2 powerful sound waves clashed in the air, causing the entire space to tremble violently. Facing the sharp claws of the Azure Dragon, the divine ape lifted its gigantic palm and blasted out. A thunderous boom rang out, causing the entire sky to tremble. Boundless holy battle light radiated from the bones of the divine ape, transforming into boundless battle might. Boom! A heaven-shaking sound of collision rang out as the Azure Dragon claw was directly shattered. The chess piece in the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor's hand didn't land on the board. His eyes suddenly froze as he stared downwards as his countenance grew extremely unsightly to behold, only to see that in the battle formation of the Battle Saint tribe, every single particle in the air contained a powerful battle aura. When the 36 of them attacked at the same time, beams of sacred light flashed as the heavens and earth rumbled. The might of the Battle Saint art manifested, wanting to destroy everything, directly blasting into the Azure Dragon. In an instant, the Azure Dragon crumbled unceasingly. The 36 experts that formed the Azure Dragon battle formation all groaned in pain. Roar! The divine ape let out a heaven-shaking roar, causing a few weaker immortal kings to cough out blood. After that, a terrifying gigantic palm descended from the sky. Those immortal kings turned ashen. There was basically no time for them to reform their formation. They hurriedly retreated. preparing to give up on the battle here and retreat. How ferocious was this palm imprint? In just an instant, over 10 immortal kings were destroyed. It was simply a complete suppression. Roar! Another heaven-shaking roar rang out. The divine ape stepped out, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. Both its palms blasted out in the air, causing the entire space to tremble. Those fleeing immortal kings felt their bodies trembling violently as their laws were thrown into chaos, as though they were being destroyed. After that, a gigantic palm that blotted out the sun extended outwards, grabbing towards the fleeing immortal kings. The expressions of the fleeing immortal kings were extremely unsightly to behold. They unleashed terrifying attacks, but without the amplification of the battle formation, how could they defend against such a fearsome attack? It was simply like an ant trying to shake a tree. They were directly destroyed. Even if they took out powerful immortal ranked weapons, it was useless. Several powerful immortal ranked weapons were directly destroyed. In just a few breaths of time, the 36 immortal kings were actually completely annihilated. This was simply too tragic. These 36 immortal kings were all immortal kings, the core pillars of the Dongshangshan Gate. Yet, in just a few short seconds, they were all wiped out. The expression of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor turned extremely heavy. He spoke, "These people, which clan or power are they from? Why don't I know? I have no idea as well." The Emperor Qianbian laughed. However, at this moment, someone from below spoke, "Your Majesty, these people seem to be very familiar with the Immortal Foundation experts around Qin Wentian." Those Immortal Foundation experts even accompanied Qin Wentian into the Tiandao Sacred Academy before. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor rarely paid attention to Immortal Foundation experts. However, there were people from the Dongshangshan Gate who paid attention to them. Every single word of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor rang through the entire Cloud Prefecture, allowing the people below to hear it. Hence, he spoke to the air, allowing the words of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor to enter the Cloud Prefecture. Qin Wentian. An intense killing intent flashed in the eyes of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. 36 immortal kings actually didn't even have a chance to flee. All of them were killed. Even for him, he felt heartache in his heart. But since they have already died, he could only turn his attention to the other 3 battlefields. For the Vermilion Bird battle formation, his subordinates were able to suppress their opponents and have already killed several immortal kings. The people who formed this battle formation were all immortal kings who were extremely proficient in fire attribute energy. Just the flames of the Vermilion Bird alone was sufficient to destroy their opponents. The immortal Qianbian Gate couldn't win this battle and suffered heavy losses. After that, they retreated. Turning his gaze over, he stared at the White Tiger battle formation. In that battlefield, the White Tiger transformed into a god of slaughter, exuding boundless might. The immortal kings who formed this battle formation were all proficient in killing. Hence, when the power of the formation was stacked together, it became extremely terrifying. However, in this battlefield, the immortal Qianbian Gate actually had quite a few extremely powerful experts. Although they were at a disadvantage, none of them were killed yet. The attacks of the White Tiger grew even more violent. All the immortal kings unleashed their attacks as killing intent engulfed the area. And at this moment, within the White Tiger battle formation, one of the immortal kings manifested a boundless sword light that slashed downwards. His killing intent permeated the entire space. Streams of sword might ravaged the area as fresh blood splattered everywhere. Impudent! The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly snorted, his expression extremely unsightly to behold. This immortal king actually killed his own people, those who formed the White Tiger battle formation, and attacked the immortal kings of the Dongshangshan Gate who were caught off guard. In such a tense moment, such a powerful strike was undoubtedly fatal. Instantly, 4 immortal kings were killed and many others were injured. The White Tiger battle formation was instantly thrown into a state of chaos. Before everyone could react, that immortal king directly soared into the sky with his sword. At the same time, the experts of the immortal Qianbian Gate also rushed over to assist him. Chapter 1388. Traitor's Spy. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had an unsightly expression on his face. As an immortal emperor, even the death of an immortal king wouldn't be enough to make him frown. But now, there were so many unforeseen events that he couldn't feel at ease playing chess with the Emperor of Qianbian. The Eastern Azure Dragon battle formation was completely wiped out. The enemy's cultivation bases and battle formations were all stronger, and these people actually had a connection with Qin Wentian. This originally already made the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor extremely unhappy. And now, a traitor actually appeared within his Dongshengshen gate. This traitor had been hiding all this while, and no one had discovered it. It was only at such a crucial moment that he suddenly acted, dealing a fatal blow. The situation of the battlefield changed in an instant. The White Tiger battle formation, which originally had the upper hand, crumbled. The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor's countenance turned extremely unsightly as he stared at the scene before him. Qianbian, I didn't expect you to be so despicable. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor stared at the silhouette of the Emperor of Qianbian. Eastern Sage, you are in the wrong. This is an immortal war. Within the rules, both sides can use their own methods. If your men manage to infiltrate my immortal Qianbian gate, would you miss out on such an opportunity? The Emperor of Qianbian emotionlessly spoke. This was a true war. Being merciful to one's enemies was akin to being cruel to oneself. Within the rules, there was no need to hide any methods. This time around, those chosen by my Dongshengshen gate are all immortal kings who have been in our sect for many years. Even before the establishment of your immortal Qianbian gate, you actually sent your men in? Could it be that you have been planning to deal with my Dongshengshen gate since a long time ago? In that case, after you were defeated, you have always been unwilling and wanted to make a comeback? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. Naturally, in order to pursue a higher cultivation realm, I first have to wipe away all my regrets. Even if I don't have a strong desire for power, I still have to take control of the 13 prefectures. Even if I might abandon them in the future, at the very least I have to seize them back. The Emperor of Qianbian stared at the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor as he spoke. Haha, seems like you have already forgotten the humiliation of being defeated in the past. In that case, I will let you taste the taste of defeat again. The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor laughed loudly, exuding an intense confidence. Below, the battles of the White Tiger battle formation ended one after another. Because of the sneak attack by the traitor, the Eastern Sage Immortal sect suffered a terrifying blow. In addition, Bai Wuya seemed to have intentionally chosen some extremely powerful elite immortal kings for this battle formation, causing the situation to reverse. The Eastern Sage Immortal sect's immortal kings were all defeated and many immortal kings were killed. As for the Battle of the Black Tortoise battle formation, Dongshengshen Gate won. The experts of the Immortal Qianbian Gate also lost several immortal kings. Usually, the lofty immortal kings were characters that could become lords of their own territories. Many of them had already fallen in this war. The immortal wars between emperor-ranked powers were always so cruel and merciless. If these immortal kings went to a small city, they would all be kings. If they went to a major city, they would all be considered hegemons. It was only on the battlefield that they were so insignificant, as though they were insignificant. Haha, Eastern Sage, you are so confident. However, you didn't even gain the slightest advantage in these 4 battle formations. In fact, it can be said that your Dongshengshen Gate has lost. The Emperor of Qianbian's laughter was filled with coldness. Immortal kings were the core strength of the army. The death of each immortal king was a loss, but in an immortal war, it was unavoidable. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had a heavy expression on his face. The 4 Saints battle formation was a killing move they prepared. But 2 victories and 2 defeats. Not only that, one of the defeats was a complete annihilation. Such a battle result could only be considered a defeat. Since this is the case, let's see the true strength of both sides. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's voice was ice cold. As the sound of his voice faded, the chess piece in his hand landed once more, directly into the heart of the Emperor of Qianbian. It was like a bugle call for war. As the sound of his voice faded, the 4 paragons in the 4 directions issued a command at the same time. Dongshengshen Gate's Immortal Foundation Army. Kill them all. Annihilate all Immortal Foundation experts who block your path. Raise the entire Immortal Qianbian Gate to flat ground. As the sound of their voices faded, the atmosphere turned solemn. The Emperor of Qianbian's countenance changed as he spoke. Only immortal kings can decide the outcome of this war. Why is there a need to let the blood of Immortal Foundation experts flow on the ground? In terms of Immortal Foundation, my army has an absolute advantage. Since you wanted 6 prefectures back then and these people are willing to join you, it means that they are my enemies. Since this is the case, I naturally have to tell the cultivators of the 13 prefectures what the consequences of opposing me are. As long as fresh blood flows in the Cloud Prefecture from now on, there will no longer be any powers other than my Eastern Sage Immortal sect who would dare to rule over any of the 13 prefectures. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor calmly spoke. The army of Immortal Foundation experts launched their attacks. Although the destructive power they could create was far inferior compared to immortal kings, it was still incomparably shocking. Just that might alone was sufficient to cause the hearts of people to tremble. For those spectators in the Cloud Prefecture city, their hearts trembled when they heard the words of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. As expected of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, the reason he initiated this war wasn't simply to defeat the immortal Qianbian Gate. He wanted to completely destroy the immortal Qianbian Gate, killing all the experts of the immortal Qianbian Gate and razing it to the ground. From then on, no one would dare to contend against the Dongshengshan Gate. At the very least, he wanted to be the absolute hegemon of the 13 prefectures. Fight! Bai Wuya's voice was filled with killing intent. The Immortal Foundation experts of the immortal Qianbian Gate gradually gathered into a battle formation. Instantly, a violent might gushed forth as they moved in 4 different directions. Since a battle was unavoidable, they could only accept it. The armies swiftly clashed in the airspace above the Cloud Prefecture city. Just a single attack was already filled with boundless might, causing the sky to change color. As the intense rumbling sounds rang out, more and more experts fell from the air. In such a large-scale battle, the strength of humans was insignificant. Only some powerful battle formations could display tyrannical might. An example was the battle formation formed by Qida and the other members of the Battle Saint tribe. Everywhere they passed by, the experts of the Battle Saint tribe would be smashed apart like dried weeds and smashed rotten wood. Everywhere they passed by, the experts of the Battle Saint tribe would be killed. There were also some extremely powerful Immortal Foundation characters who had the strength to fight in all directions, sweeping through everything. For example, there was a slender figure in white. His speed was extremely fast and he wielded a long spear. Samsara energy gushed forth from his eyes, able to cause people to sink into a trance with just a single glance. After which, his long spear swept out, killing with a single strike. Piercing sounds rang out unceasingly, and in just a short instant, over 10 Immortal Foundation experts had already died in his hands. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was still playing chess with the Emperor Qianbian. But in truth, he could clearly see the situation of the entire battlefield. Given how powerful his immortal sense was, it could cover the entire battlefield. As long as he wanted to know, no details would be able to escape his eyes. Is that the disciple of the myriad incarnations immortal king? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor frowned, feeling somewhat unhappy. The first time he met this young man was during the grand banquet at the Dongshengshan Gate. Back then, this young man was the personal disciple of the beautiful myriad incarnations immortal king. Your Majesty, this young man is named Hua Taishu. He once joined forces with Qin Wentian and the two of them have always been very close. Back in the city of ancient emperors, he even acted against our Dongshengshan Gate. An immortal king replied. He pointed his finger at Hua Taishu as he coldly commanded, "Kill him. Myriad incarnations is here?" The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor turned his gaze to the immortal kings of the immortal Qianbian Gate below. Among them, there were many immortal kings with masks on. There were quite a few with slender figures. They were all female immortal kings. At this moment, one of the immortal kings took off her mask. It was none other than the beautiful myriad incarnations immortal king. She stared at the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. "I pay my respects to your Majesty. You want to oppose me?" The Eastern Sage Immortal King calmly asked. "Your Majesty, my disciple had some conflict with your subordinates and was implicated. Even for me, I also encountered some trouble because of this. This little girl had no choice. I hope that your Majesty won't blame me." The myriad incarnations immortal king smiled. "Since you have already thought things through, it's enough." The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke, but his eyes flickered with killing intent. "A just cause enjoys abundant support. Eastern Sage, don't be angry. Who asked the people of your Dongshengshan Gate to be the hegemon of the Dongsheng Immortal Sect? You can't tolerate the slightest bit of disrespect from others." The Emperor Qianbian coldly spoke. Many experts rushed towards Hua Taishu. With a flick of his spear, many people were dazed for an instant, after which, sounds of explosions rang out unceasingly as the Immortal Foundation experts in the surroundings were all annihilated. Very good, your talent is truly powerful. I've learned many things from you. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was somewhat unhappy. On the Immortal Foundation battlefield, there were actually so many powerful characters appearing. This was especially so for that group of people from the Battle Saint tribe. These people should have a connection with Qin Wentian. Why don't I see Qin Wentian? Doesn't he hate me to the core? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor calmly spoke. He glanced below, but within his immortal sense he didn't see Qin Wentian. Those masked experts were all immortal kings. Could it be that that brat from back then had already broken through to the immortal king realm so quickly? If this was the case, he really had to get rid of that brat. Leaving him alive would only be a calamity. Qin Wentian's strength is so weak. Eastern Sage, you actually have the time to pay attention to him? The Emperor of Qinbian laughed. He didn't say where Qin Wentian was, allowing the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor to guess for himself. Earlier, Qin Wentian had already fought a battle. Although he masked his features, if the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor used his immortal sense to probe into Qin Wentian's body and sense his aura, he might be able to discover that Qin Wentian was none other than Qin Wentian. But as an immortal emperor, it was disdainful for him to use his immortal sense to probe an initial stage immortal king. Since he dares to insult me, I naturally have to pay attention to him. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor spoke coldly. When the two of them fought, Bai Wuya's brows were tightly furrowed. Although their immortal Qinbian Gate had many outstanding Immortal Foundation experts, their disadvantage in numbers was simply too terrifying. Their Immortal Foundation experts kept falling. It was clear that the other party wanted to kill them all. In this case, they could only initiate an all-out war. Prepare for battle. Bai Wuya spoke. After that, the Immortal Kings all stood in their positions. They had already split into 4 camps, and would head to the 4 directions to fight against the Immortal Kings of the other party. Can't endure it any longer? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly laughed. The 4 paragons waved their hands, preparing for an all-out war at the Immortal King level. Chapter 1389. Staring at the Immortal Kings below, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor also launched an all-out attack. He placed his chess piece down and laughed. Qinbian, the number of Immortal Kings we have will definitely crush you all. How will you all fight? Have you gone senile? When has a battle between Immortal Kings ever been decided by numbers? The Emperor Qinbian calmly spoke. For a peak stage Immortal King, even if you have 100 initial stage Immortal Kings, what's the use? You would still be insta-killed one by one. Cultivation base and combat prowess are the true determinants of victory. Have you forgotten the time when Bai Wuya single-handedly appeared and killed Deep Flame? Humph! The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor couldn't help but snort coldly when he heard the other party mentioning Deep Flame's death. Deep Flame was also an immortal king who had followed him for many years, and had many battle achievements. It was just that he didn't expect Bai Wuya to have always been hiding his strength. Bai Wuya was so strong that he could kill Deep Flame, not allowing Deep Flame to escape. After entering the Tiandao Sacred Academy, Bai Wuya actually broke through to the Immortal Emperor realm. Out of the 2 people that the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was most unhappy with towards the Immortal Qinbian Gate, the Emperor Qinbian wasn't one of them. After all, the Emperor Qinbian was merely a loser back then. Even if he lost 6 prefectures, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor would definitely take revenge. However, Bai Wuya and Qin Wentian were both juniors, causing him to be extremely unhappy. To think that you, Qinbian, are still so stubborn. The Immortal King army of my Dongsheng Gate can crush you all in terms of numbers, but do you think that our combat prowess would be weaker? Just wait and see. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. Below, the battles in the 4 directions had already started to clash. Immortal Kings stood in the air, pulling the distance between them apart, occupying a vast space. In a battle at the Immortal King level, every single one of them needed a vast space as their battlefield. Even if they formed battle formations, they still needed to expand the space between them. The experts of the Dongsheng Gate had a 4 saints battle formation in each of the 4 major directions. There was actually a total of 7 battle formations. If it wasn't for the fact that one of the battle formations had been completely annihilated, they would have 8 battle formations. Powerful immortal kings would appear in the surroundings of every 4 saints' battle formation, assisting the battle formation in battle. At the same time, when an expert of the battle formation died, there would be a substitute. The reason why the 7 saints' battle formation was able to be formed was because some of the people who died earlier were substituted. Apart from the battle formation, there were also many elites who were prepared to fight freely. There was no lack of extremely powerful figures among them. This way, the power of the Celestial King tier army could be unleashed to the extreme. In the eastern direction, the 36 immortal kings of the Battle Saint tribe were guarding there alone. In this direction, the Immortal Champion Gate had the least number of people. But because they were proficient in joint formations, in addition to the fact that their cultivation bases were high, the 36 of them were all at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm or above. Among them, 20 were mid-stage Immortal Kings and 16 were peak-stage Immortal Kings. Among the peak-stage Immortal Kings, 6 of them were at the late stage of the peak stage and had terrifying strength. In addition, among the 6 of them, there were already 3 who had reached the peak stage of the Immortal King realm. Previously, they had easily wiped out one of the enemy's battle matrices. It was almost an absolute suppression. Hence, it was not an exaggeration for them to take charge of one side now. Moreover, there was only one battle matrix on this side. They had just wiped out the other battle matrix. How arrogant! The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly snorted when he saw this scene. You have also seen the might of the battle formation earlier. In addition to their cultivation bases, there are 16 peak stage immortal kings. So what if they stand alone? The Emperor Qianbian spoke. Although there were many immortal kings in the Dongshengshen Gate, the number of initial stage immortal kings was the highest, followed by mid-stage immortal kings. The number of peak stage immortal kings was naturally the least. The Immortal Qianbian Gate had a much lesser number of immortal kings, but they didn't lack any peak stage immortal kings. Let's just wait and see then. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly snorted. Qin Wentian was in the northern direction. He didn't stand together with the people from the Battle Saint tribe. After all, the experts of the Battle Saint tribe formed a battle formation and could stand alone in one direction. The northern battlefield was under the control of one of the 4 paragons, Paragon Golden Cauldron. He himself was also a peak stage immortal king, and stood at the very peak of the immortal king realm. His strength was extremely terrifying. And for Qin Wentian's side there was also a leader. It was a senior from the Heavenly Talisman realm who wore a mask. Earlier when he was chatting in the Immortal sect, he heard that this senior was surnamed Tuoba, but he didn't know his exact name. Many people from the Heavenly Talisman realm were very respectful to him, and referred to him as Senior Brother Tuoba. Other than his fellow disciples from the Heavenly Talisman realm, the beautiful Myriad Incarnations Immortal King was also present. This caused Qin Wentian to feel somewhat taken aback. Back then, his senior brother Bai Wuya and the Myriad Incarnations Immortal King were both guests in the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's particle world. That was the first time he met them. Now there was actually a chance for them to fight side by side. The other party formed 2 grand battle formations. One was the Vermilion Bird battle formation, the other was the Xuanwu battle formation. There were also many immortal kings protecting them. In the center, Paragon Golden Cauldron stood, and behind him, there seemed to be another extremely powerful character, who seemed to be in the core position of the Dongshengshen Gate's immortal kings. Who is this person? Qin Wentian silently mused. The Dongshengshen Gate initiated this grand war, wanting to destroy the Immortal Qianbian Gate in one fell swoop. They must have made ample preparations. Other than the 4 paragons, they must have other trump cards up their sleeves. At this moment, a supremely powerful beam of immortal light radiated from that figure. In an instant, boundless law light enveloped the entire space, enveloping all the immortal kings of the Dongshengshen Gate within. After that, a resplendent beam of law light directly seeped into their bodies. In an instant, the immortal kings of the Dongshengshen Gate were all shrouded in a holy light, as their auras actually rose up. A supplementary technique that can strengthen one's strength. The expressions of the immortal kings of the Immortal Qianbian Gate all changed. The formation of the enemy was already extremely terrifying. In addition to this technique, the strength of everyone instantly rose to another level. This was undoubtedly a fatal blow to their immortal champion gate. There's actually such a technique. Qin Wentian frowned. He knew that there were some unique law attribute techniques or innate techniques that could amplify one's combat prowess. But this person was able to amplify the strength of others, and was extremely suitable for group battles. Paragon Golden Cauldron's expression was cold and tyrannical. Before this, they delayed their attack on the Dongshangshan Gate because they were waiting for a few people. The person behind him was none other than one of those people. Although he firmly believed that even if they weren't here, victory would still be theirs. But with the assistance of these people, they would be able to destroy the enemy with the lowest price. Today shall be the doomsday of the immortal champion gate. Paragon Golden Cauldron coldly spoke. But at this moment, immortal King Tuoba stepped out as law might gushed forth from him. For a moment, his law domain enveloped all the immortal kings of the immortal champion gate. This law domain shone with a resplendent holy light as a powerful suction force could be felt from it. Don't resist. Use all your law energy to cover my law domain. I will be able to borrow it. Immortal King Tuoba spoke. After that, everyone nodded and didn't resist the suction force. Instead, they frenziedly released their immortal energy, allowing it to be absorbed by Immortal King Tuoba's law domain. This energy frenziedly seeped into Immortal King Tuoba's body, causing his body to expand in size. He was like a peerless immortal king, standing at the forefront of the immortal champion gate. This immortal King Tuoba's name was Tuoba Saint Sky. He has been cultivating in the heavenly talisman realm for many years. Because of the uniqueness of his astral souls, he grew stronger step by step in the immortal king realm, and his law domain also grew stronger. Right now, his law domain was known as the law assimilation domain, able to assimilate all law energy for his own use. It was extremely tyrannical. As for his own cultivation base, he was naturally strong enough to be able to create such a shocking law domain. Clearly, he had immersed himself in the immortal king realm for many years, and his comprehension was extremely high. His cultivation base had already reached the peak of the immortal king realm, and he was also a rare genius in the heavenly talisman realm. This time around, after he graduated from the Tiandao Sacred Academy, he was only a step away from the immortal emperor realm. As expected, both sides have their own trump cards. Qin Wentian silently mused when he sensed Tuoba Saintsky's aura rising. Regardless of the Dongshangshan Gate or the Immortal Champion Gate, both of them had made ample preparations and were slowly displaying their strength. Kill! Paragon Golden Cauldron spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the Xuanwu battle formation spat out icy water, causing the entire space to freeze. The intense coldness caused everyone to tremble. At the same time, the Vermilion Bird battle formation spat out heaven-incinerating flames. Two completely different types of energy gushed forth in different directions. Tuoba Saintsky's body shone with a resplendent holy light. It was as though he possessed supreme strength. He slapped out with his finger as a wall of astral light appeared, blocking the water and fire. Boom boom boom. Violent auras gushed forth as the experts of the Dongshangshan Gate rushed over. Paragon Golden Cauldron received the augmentation from his energy, as a gigantic golden cauldron manifested in the air. In the surroundings, millions of golden cauldrons spun rapidly as they all rushed over. With a thunderous boom, the wall of astral light shattered as the experts of the Dongshangshan Gate rushed over. Sever his connection with the others, Paragon Golden Cauldron commanded. Tuoba Saintsky punched out with both fists. His fists glowed with an indomitable golden light as he directly blasted towards the two battle formations. The law energy in the surroundings was all assimilated into the sharpness of metal. Assimilation? Is he able to convert the law energy he assimilated into the law attribute of any of his opponents? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor glanced at the battlefield as his expression turned unsightly to behold. At this moment, there were many shocking peak stage immortal kings appearing. However, why would the Immortal Champion Gate have so many powerful peak stage immortal kings? Eastern Sage, your preparations are truly ample. All four directions actually have an amplification effect. Are these people all from your Dongshangshan Gate? The Emperor Qianbian took the initiative to ask. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor froze. He didn't expect the Emperor Qianbian to snatch the words he wanted to say. He couldn't help but to speak in a cold manner. What about you guys? How many years has the history of the Immortal Champion Gate only existed for? Where did these peak stage immortal kings come from? Haha, you're the same here. The Emperor Qianbian laughed, as though he was intentionally misleading the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. Chapter 1390. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was indeed misled by the Emperor Qianbian. After all, his Dongshengshan Gate had external reinforcements. These reinforcements originated from the allied powers of the Evergreen Kingdom back then, and the Emperor Qianbian was most definitely one of them. As for the other hidden powers in the immortal realms, they had yet to be discovered. After all, the Heavenly Talisman realm had always been low profile and cautious in their actions. Even if they discovered some clues, it would be hard for them to trace back to the source. If it wasn't for this mission to unify the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, the Heavenly Talisman realm wouldn't have revealed so many of their experts. After all, so many experts who weren't part of the Immortal Qianbian Gate would easily attract suspicion. However, it was temporarily impossible for the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor to think of the Heavenly Talisman realm. He naturally thought of the other major powers instead. At this moment, the two supreme characters in the air no longer had the mood to continue playing chess. The true battle had already erupted. Powerful experts clashed against each other. For battlefields, immortal kings exuded destructive auras as they fought. Even immortal emperors like them felt fear in their hearts. In the battlefield where Qin Wentian was at, Tuoba Sainsky's strength was extremely powerful. His assimilation law domain had already reached the peak of perfection, and he could instantly transform his law attributes into attacks. In addition, these attacks were all laws that didn't belong to him. The might of each of his attacks was extremely terrifying, and the immortal kings on the other side had the advantage in numbers. They started to surround Tuoba Sainsky, preparing to sever the connection between him and his allies. The Black Tortoise battle formation acted as a meat shield, preparing to block Tuoba Sainsky's attacks. The Vermilion Bird battle formation focused on offense while Paragon Golden Cauldron controlled everything else. That augmentation expert was still behind them and was blocked by the immortal kings. There was no need for him to participate in the battle, but his role was more important compared to everyone else on the battlefield. Boom! When Tuoba Sainsky saw that someone wanted to surround him from the side, he willed it, and in an instant, a heaven-shaking gravitational law domain descended. This vast void gave birth to a terrifying gravitational law domain. This was Tuoba Sainsky borrowing the law attribute power of others. On the battlefield, he needed to be able to flexibly use the various elemental laws in order to unleash his strongest power. After the power of gravity, it was the power of space. Qin Wentian punched out with both fists, manifesting boundless might, directly penetrating through the void, instantly landing in two different directions. The two immortal kings roared in rage as they retaliated. However, under the might of that fist might, they were directly destroyed. The two immortal kings were instantly killed. Paragon Golden Cauldron had an ugly expression on his face. His body floated in the air as a gigantic cauldron descended from the sky, crushing down on the world. The entire space felt like it was about to be suppressed. That gigantic cauldron didn't attack Tuoba Sainsky. Instead, it attacked the people behind him who offered their law energy to him. Only by severing the connection would Tuoba Sainsky no longer be so powerful and not be so passive. Upon seeing Paragon Golden Cauldron's actions, everyone knew what to do next. But at this moment, Tuoba Sainsky acted again. This time around, his target was the immortal king at the back. Paragon Golden Cauldron's expression froze when he saw this. Block him! The Black Tortoise battle formation instantly appeared in front of Tuoba Sainsky. Tuoba Sainsky's eyes gleamed with coldness as he roared. His fists radiated an unexcelled might, ignoring all the attacks aimed at him, and slammed into the Black Tortoise battle formation. A terrifying shockwave gushed forth, shattering everything. With a thunderous boom, the Black Tortoise battle formation crumbled apart. The immortal kings who formed the battle formation were all forced back to different locations. At the same time, a spatial screen appeared around Tuoba Sainsky, blocking all the attacks. The attacks were all aimed at him, wanting to break free from the restraints of the spatial energy. Boom! The gigantic golden cauldron slammed down, destroying the spatial energy. However, Tuoba Sainsky didn't seem to notice it. His two palms were like the palms of divinity, grabbing towards the immortal king of the immortal Chinbian Gate. That immortal king's expression changed as he retreated. "Where do you think you are going?" Tuoba Saint Sky coldly spoke. In an instant, an incomparably terrifying devouring might manifested in his palms. Instantly, the entire space trembled as boundless currents were sucked into his palms. The expression of that immortal king instantly turned extremely ugly to behold. He felt that he couldn't move at all. "Kill him!" That immortal king roared. Paragon Golden Cauldron and the Vermilion Bird battle formation unleashed their attacks, directly aiming for Tuoba Saintsky's head. Flames of slaughter that could incinerate the heavens and earth blasted out. However, Tuoba Saintsky was still incomparably domineering. His entire body was enveloped by 3 layers of law energy. His palms radiated a devouring might as they neared the immortal king. After that, a grand freezing law energy appeared, causing the immortal king's body to freeze. Boom! A supreme destructive palm slammed down, directly shattering the immortal king's body. Even if the immortal king was a peak stage expert, he wouldn't be able to withstand Tuoba Saintsky's attack that was augmented by the law energy of the immortal kings. And at this moment, Tuoba Saintsky's body as well as the defensive barrier behind him also suffered from the terrifying attacks and was on the verge of collapse. Many immortal kings rushed to the back. As long as they could break through the defensive barrier, they would be able to slaughter their way to those immortal kings who unleashed their law energy on Tuoba Saintsky. If that was the case, this Tuoba Saintsky formation formed by everyone would collapse, only to see Tuoba Saintsky retracting his palms. His entire body was engulfed by the destructive flames, as though he was about to be incinerated. He inclined his head and glanced at the Vermilion Bird battle formation before punching out with both his fists. At this instant, his fists shone with a supreme holy light, akin to meteors in the starry space, containing a boundlessly heavy might that could destroy everything. His fists penetrated through the boundless destructive flames, slamming into the battle formation. With a deafening sound, the battle formation crumbled apart. The immortal kings inside all groaned in pain as they retreated one after another. And almost at the same instant, Tuoba Saintsky's attacks from the back were about to break apart. He inclined his head and roared in rage. This roar shook the heavens and earth, containing killing intent within. At the very last moment, he could still borrow the power of his immortal energy to roar out. Some of the weaker immortal kings directly bled from the 7 apertures of their heads. Tuoba Saintsky punched out with his fists, punching into the void. After which, sounds of explosions rang out unceasingly. Those immortal kings who were heavily injured were all heavily injured, and many of them died from the impact. Tuoba Saintsky's main mission this time around was to kill that immortal king who amplified his attacks, as well as to break apart the enemy's battle formation. By doing these 2 things, he would have already achieved his first goal. The connection was finally severed. Numerous immortal kings appeared behind Tuoba Saintsky, launching attacks at the immortal kings of the immortal Chinbian Gate. Paragon Golden Cauldron turned ashen as he stared at Tuoba Saintsky. He coldly asked, "Who are you? Such a powerful character, why would he be in the immortal Chinbian Gate?" Also, he had never heard of this character before. He really wanted to see the face under the mask. Tuoba Saintsky didn't reply. He simply punched out. Even without the amplification from the immortal kings, his attack was still exceedingly powerful. At the same time, he frenziedly absorbed the energy of the heavens and earth for his own use. In fact, even when Paragon Golden Cauldron dissipated the law energy, Tuoba Saintsky could still borrow it. This was simply terrifying. This caused Paragon Golden Cauldron's expression to turn heavy. At the back of the battlefield, 2 immortal kings appeared before Qin Wentian. However, both of them were initial stage immortal kings. After all, his aura was that of an initial stage immortal king. Although the number of immortal kings of the Dongshangshan Gate clearly surpassed the immortal Chinbian Gate in terms of numbers, they still needed to distribute their opponents evenly. Now that the battle formation was broken apart, they could only search for their own opponents. Qin Wentian was an initial stage immortal king. With 2 immortal kings at the same level as him, this was already a clear indication of the superiority of the Dongshangshan Gate in terms of numbers. Qin Wentian stared at the 2 immortal kings before him. One of them had an immortal-ranked weapon in his hand and wielded a terrifying gigantic axe that radiated a fearsome sharpness. To immortal kings, ordinary immortal ranked weapons wouldn't be able to amplify their strength. Unless it was a powerful treasure with a cultivation base higher than them, or an immortal ranked weapon that was extremely compatible with their law attribute. That person directly chopped down with his axe. His speed was as fast as lightning, causing a line to appear in the air. As for the other person, he grabbed towards Qin Wentian as a mysterious law energy enveloped Qin Wentian, causing him to feel as though he was being obstructed by a formless energy. Boom! A dazzling light radiated from Qin Wentian's body. God's hand activated the law energy in his body. He lifted his palm, akin to a divine weapon. Runic light flashed in his palm as devil might churned. He directly grabbed out, grabbing hold of the gigantic axe. A thunderous boom rang out as the axe exploded in Qin Wentian's palm. His palm trembled, but it wasn't split apart. Qin Wentian stared at his opponent, exuding an unexcelled tyrannical might, causing the heart of his opponent to tremble. After that, Qin Wentian blasted out with his palm as terrifying destructive lightning gushed forth. This entire space was like the end of the world. The power of judgment directly blasted into his opponent's body, ignoring all defenses and directly splitting it apart. It was so fast that his opponent couldn't even react in time. His gaze froze. He glanced at Qin Wentian before retreating. This person was very strong, he wasn't a match for him at all. Qin Wentian stepped out with speed as fast as lightning. He grabbed out with his palm as the destructive power of darkness blasted out. His opponent turned ashen, and after that, Qin Wentian stabbed out with a finger, penetrating into his body. That immortal king screamed in agony as he was instantly killed. Right now, although Qin Wentian was only at the initial stage of the immortal king realm, if he fought seriously, there wouldn't be many people who could stand against him. Two initial stage immortal kings were merely sending themselves to their deaths. They wouldn't be able to do anything to him. Qin Wentian glanced at the battlefield and stepped out, killing his way to other locations. Although they had broken the enemy's formation, the immortal Qinbian Gate was still at a disadvantage in terms of numbers. If they wanted to obtain victory in this battle, the disciples of the Heavenly Talisman realm had to take on an extremely important mission. They had to fight against several opponents at the same time and kill their opponents. Only by doing so would they be able to obtain victory. Chapter 1391. On Qin Wentian's side, Tuoba Saint Sky was the leader, while the other three locations were also experiencing intense battles. The 36 experts from the Battle Saint tribe formed a powerful battle formation that contained boundless might. They stood alone against hundreds of immortal kings, and were surrounded by a terrifying encirclement. However, the might of the battle formation formed by the experts of the Battle Saint tribe was simply too overwhelming. Although the Four Sacred Battle formation was also a powerful formation, not everyone was suitable for it. They could only choose immortal kings who were more suitable for the formation. However, it was different for the experts from the Battle Saint tribe. That battle formation was created specifically for them, and the 36 of them could unleash their full power as they wished. In addition, the cultivation bases of the 36 experts of the Battle Saint tribe were all very high. 16 peak stage immortal kings. How terrifying was this? The others were all mid-stage immortal kings. Hence, they were able to suppress their opponents earlier. When they released their Battle Saint might at the same time, the entire space was filled with an intense battle might that swept over everything. For every attack, if someone dared to face it head-on, they would die for sure. There were already over 10 immortal kings who died in their hands. That immortal king didn't dare to face them head-on, and could only restrict them while borrowing the strength of everyone to surround them. All sorts of immortal weapons were taken out, aiming for the experts from the Battle Saint tribe. However, no one dared to get too close. In the air, that incomparably gigantic divine ape roared out, causing the entire space to tremble. The initial stage immortal kings coughed out blood as their bodies trembled unceasingly, feeling like they were about to be killed by that roar. Sever their formation, we can't allow them to form such a connection. That paragon in the air coldly commanded. Although the 36 experts from the Battle Saint tribe were in different locations, they were all enveloped by the formation. When they attacked one of the immortal kings, the power of the formation would instantly converge on that immortal king. In such a battle, if they couldn't break the formation, They could only slowly be hunted down by the experts from the Battle Saint tribe. The expressions of everyone grew unsightly. What sort of characters were these immortal kings? Who didn't know that they had to sever the connection between the experts from the Battle Saint tribe before they could break the formation? However, they basically had no chance at all. Using their individual strength to fight against such a formation was akin to an ant trying to shake a tree. Their battle formations didn't even dare to face their opponents head-on, only to see that the experts of the Battle Saint tribe in the battle formation all folded ancient seals as a divine glow radiated from them. Their bones glowed with a holy battle light as beams of battle radiated from them, cascading downwards from the sky. The gigantic divine ape hammered its chest before it pressed its palms together and similarly formed an ancient seal, causing the eyes of the surrounding experts to freeze. This gigantic divine ape actually also formed an ancient seal, causing the entire space to resonate with it. All of them could feel the overwhelming battle might radiating from this boundless space. Careful, don't interrupt them. Paragon Skyrock, who was in the air, roared. Although he wasn't allowed to participate in the battle, he could still command the troops. Paragon Skyrock could already sense the resonance of the battle energy in the surroundings. The 36 immortal kings formed a battle formation, and the battle bloodlines and bones of the immortal kings were all resonating with each other. This caused him to have a bad premonition. He could faintly sense that this attack would definitely be earth-shattering. When the boundless battle energy congregated together, the divine ape howled in rage, causing the entire space to tremble. A gigantic battle character appeared and expanded rapidly, enveloping the entire space. This ancient character contained the terrifying auras of the 36 immortal kings. After that, the 36 immortal kings pushed out their palms at the same time. The battle character gushed forth, and in an instant, a torrent of battle energy appeared, wanting to destroy everything. The countenances of the immortal kings all drastically changed. All of them gathered their strongest attacks and frenziedly attacked the ancient character. But when their attacks landed on the ancient character, they were instantly shattered into dust, transforming into nothingness. Boom! The ancient character arrived before an immortal king at the forefront. That immortal king directly came into contact with the resonance of the battle energy, and was instantly turned into dust, dispersing with the wind. He didn't even have the time to scream. Evade! Paragon Skyrock roared again. The immortal kings seemed to have sensed something and directly fled the battlefield, while unleashing their strongest attacks to defend. Swish, 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 swish. As the ancient character for battle swept past, immortal kings were incessantly turned into dust. Even the battle formation was instantly destroyed. When the ancient character for battle swept past, half of the immortal kings in the formation were directly killed, while the other half suffered varying degrees of injuries. Some of them had to rely on treasures to survive. Even the immortal kings in the battle formation were in such a state, there was no need to mention anything about the others. The ancient character battle continued to weaken, eventually transforming into boundless battle, might that dissipated into the air. But in this battlefield, the immortal kings of the Dongshangshan Gate were only left with tens of immortal kings. Naturally, the battle formation formed by the experts of the Battle Saint tribe was about to dissipate. The divine apes vanished as their auras fluctuated wildly. This attack exhausted a great deal of their strength, but they still maintained their formation. They sat cross-legged in the air and actually closed their eyes. The immortal kings of the Dongshangshan Gate who were still alive felt a lingering fear in their hearts. Their countenances were pale and extremely ugly to behold. They didn't dare to recklessly attack again. Chi! The chess piece in the hands of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was crushed. His expression turned ashen as he glanced at the experts of the Battle Saint tribe. The same bloodline, even their bones contain battle might. This must be a powerful ancient tribe. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's heart trembled. However, why hadn't he heard of such an ancient tribe in the immortal realms before? Also, why were these people following Qin Wentian? Although he admitted that Qin Wentian's talent was extremely high, his cultivation speed was extremely fast and his combat prowess was also ferocious, his cultivation base was still too low. He was only at the Immortal Foundation realm. How could he have so many immortal kings following him? This didn't make sense at all. Eastern Sage, seems like it's useless to have more people. In that battlefield, you guys have the greatest advantage in numbers, but you seem to be in the most miserable state." The Emperor Qianbian laughed. In the eastern battlefield, only the 36 immortal kings of the Battle Saint tribe were present. Even he didn't expect such a situation would occur. The people around Qin Wentian were actually able to take charge of the battle independently. This would undoubtedly lessen a lot of the pressure on him. That attack caused them to suffer a great deal of exhaustion. Victory and defeat isn't decided yet. In addition, there are still other battlefields. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. The battles in the southern battlefield were also extremely intense. The various experts were frenziedly clashing against each other. The Dongshengshan Gate was still using battle formations as the main force, with the immortal kings supporting them. This was similar to Qin Wentian's battle. In fact, there was also an extremely powerful character behind them. This character was proficient in mental energy, and could stimulate the battle wills of the experts of the Dongshengshan Gate. At the same time, he also caused the people of the immortal Qianbian Gate to feel despair that they would definitely lose. Within his law domain, everyone's mental state would be affected. Spirit-type illusionary arts. By cultivating the law of illusions to a certain degree, one would be able to create a mental illusionary domain. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. Such a character was also nurtured by your Dongshengshan Gate? The Emperor Qianbian asked. As long as we can obtain victory in this war, does it matter if he is nurtured by my Dongshengshan Gate or not? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly laughed. Of course it matters. If he is nurtured by your Dongshengshan Gate, I'm afraid you would feel heartache. But if he isn't, it would be others who would feel heartache. The Emperor Qianbian laughed. What do you mean? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. But at this moment he frowned as he stared into the distance. In the next instant, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's immortal sense permeated the void. He could sense a fluctuation that originated from the void. His immortal sense actually couldn't detect who the other party was. He could only sense that there was someone shuttling through the void, not in the same world as everyone else. The expression of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor changed. After that, he transmitted his voice over, "Careful." The person who specialized in spiritual illusions furrowed his brows. His senses were extremely sharp. At this moment he also sensed an unusual aura rapidly approaching. His eyes suddenly turned and looked in the direction of a certain direction. Terrifying spiritual energy rushed out, but he could not find a foothold. He could not lock onto the other party's position. Chi! A sword slashed over, the cold light illuminated the sky, causing everyone to be unable to open their eyes. The sword light that was as cold as the moon shot out with extreme speed. An incomparably powerful immortal king appeared from the void, unleashing a powerful attack. He grabbed out with his palm as he unleashed his mental illusions. But in the next instant, that beam of light instantly vanished without a trace. It came and went without a trace, but the sense of danger grew even more intense. He hurriedly retreated, but at this moment, spatial fluctuations could be felt behind him. His expression was one of shock, wanting to turn, but a beam of sword light shot out from the void once more, piercing out with extreme speed, accuracy and ruthlessness. Pucci! A sword slashed through his throat. That expert didn't even have the time to turn back as an extremely cold sword appeared in his throat. After that expert retracted his sword, his silhouette flickered as he vanished from sight once more. The countenance of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor grew even more unsightly. This time around, he had made ample preparations and invited many extraordinary characters. Not only did he have battle formations, he even had peak-stage immortal kings that could amplify his attacks and weaken his opponents. However, the preparations of the immortal Qianbian Gate seemed to be even more thorough. Also, what made the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor feel a chill was that the other party seemed to have seen through all of their battle strategies. Traitor! The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor once again thought of the traitor. The Dongshengshan Gate didn't just have a single traitor. The Emperor Qianbian had already sent people to infiltrate his Dongshengshan Gate many years ago. And it wasn't just a single traitor. Right now, these traitors might even be the core members of the Dongsheng Heaven sect. Chapter 1392. The war has already started. Even if the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor knew that there was a spy, he didn't have the time to investigate. In addition, there was no longer any time for him to think about the spy. That assassin was a peak-stage immortal king, and his assassination arts were definitely at the peak. Even for him, he had no way to see the movements of the assassin earlier. He only knew that there was someone hiding in the void, and he knew that the assassin had created a unique law domain. Such a law domain in addition to his assassination arts was simply too terrifying. A powerful peak-stage immortal king that was proficient in illusions was killed in an instant. However, the assassin didn't stop there. His silhouette instantly vanished into the void, and when he reappeared, a mid-stage immortal king was directly pulverized by the sword light. Fresh blood splattered through the air. Such a scene caused the immortal kings of the Dongshengshan Gate to feel a chill in their hearts. Not only did they have to fight, they also had to be on guard against such terrifying assassins. They basically had no way to fully focus on the battlefield. The pressure on the immortal kings of the immortal Qinbian Gate was instantly alleviated. Swishing sounds rang out as another 2 immortal kings were killed. Let alone the people of the Dongshengshan Gate. Even the immortal kings of the immortal Qinbian Gate felt their hearts trembling. Luckily, this peak-stage immortal king assassin wasn't someone from the Dongshengshan Gate, or they would be in for it. Even peak-stage immortal kings wouldn't be able to block such an assassination art, let alone low-stage and mid-stage immortal kings. There's basically no power in the eastern regions that could nurture peak-stage immortal kings. The Namhuang clan doesn't have any as well. The expression of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor grew incredibly unsightly. The might of a peak-stage immortal king assassin was clearly displayed on the battlefield. Eastern Sage, I've already reminded you before. A battle at the immortal king level isn't determined by the number of people. A peak-stage immortal king that's extremely powerful can control the entire situation. The immortal king of the immortal Qinbian Gate spoke. He then continued, as for where he came from, could it be that all the immortal sects nurture their disciples according to their own predetermined path? Every cultivator has their own unique talent and comprehension. Their predecessors can only guide them as to what path they should take. As for what kind of expert they can become in the end, that depends on themselves. For people, you guys have prepared 4 peak-stage immortal kings with unique abilities. There are also many immortal kings wearing masks. I'm very curious, where did they come from? Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. The 4 people he was referring to, other than Tuoba Saint Sky, who was in the battlefield where Qin Wentian was in, as well as this assassin, there were 2 other powerful immortal kings in the other battlefield. These 2 immortal kings were extremely powerful. One was the main attacker while the other could raise the combat prowess of others. They were somewhat similar to the people he was preparing. These 4 experts, in addition to the people from the Battle Saint tribe, formed the core of the immortal Qinbian Gate. They were all existences that could control the situation of war. However, this was the Immortal King battlefield. If one were to look down at the Immortal Foundation battlefield, the Dongshengshan Gate had the absolute advantage. Both sides suffered heavy casualties, but the people from the Immortal Qinbian Gate were in an even more dangerous situation. If this continued on, it was unknown how many experts would die. Eastern Sage, just retreat. You have no way to take down my Immortal Qinbian Gate. If you continue fighting, even if my Immortal Qinbian Gate doesn't exist in the 13 prefectures, your Dongshengshan Gate would have no way to rule over them. Sooner or later, you would become a vassal force of others. Emperor Qinbian spoke as he stared at the experts falling one after another. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had a heavy expression on his face. Retreat? This time around, the Dongshengshan Gate came in a grandiose manner, cutting off all means of retreat, bringing with them a resolute conviction. They would definitely eradicate the Immortal Qinbian Gate and unify the 13 prefectures. If they retreated just like this, their plan of attack would be for naught. Seizing the 5 prefectures would have no meaning at all. In fact, their Dongshengshan Gate would become a laughingstock, and the momentum would be completely in the hands of the Immortal Qinbian Gate. In the future battles, they would no longer have the initiative. The Immortal Qinbian Gate must be destroyed. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. The cruel battle still continued. The battlefield of the 4 Immortal King level experts was in the air above the Cloud Prefecture, while below was the battlefield of the Immortal Foundation experts. It was unknown how many experts would die. Immortal Foundation experts who had cultivated to a certain level were merely cannon fodder. Even immortal kings who were lofty could die at any moment because immortal emperors were the ones in charge of the war. In the air, another group of experts descended. They directly came to the side of Dongsheng Heaven Emperor as they called out, "Father, you guys can go and choose your own battlefield." The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor spoke. Emperor Qianbian glanced at these experts as he spoke. "Dongsheng, you even sent out all your descendants to participate in this war. Do you really want to cut off all means of retreat? If they die, don't go crazy. Battles of life and death are the best way to temper people. In addition, it's not so easy for them to die." The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. His descendants glanced at the battlefield as they all stepped out. As the eldest son of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, Dongxingyin was extremely powerful. He directly walked towards the battlefield where Qin Wentian was at. His target was Tuoba Saint Sky. At this moment, Tuoba Saint Sky was currently fighting against Paragon Golden Cauldron. Dongxingyin descended and punched out with his fist. A moment later, numerous demonic dragons manifested, their roars shaking the mountains and rivers as they rushed towards Tuoba Saint Sky. Other than Dongxingyin, there was another son of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, who also walked towards the battlefield. His name was Dongsheng Kuan. His strength was also extremely powerful, at the mid-stage of the Immortal King realm. Seems like that old dog Eastern Sage is willing to pay any price to destroy the Immortal Qianbian Gate. Upon seeing this scene, Qin Wentian's expression turned cold. Back then, he once used the identity of Ditian to kill the youngest son of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, Dongsheng Ting, causing the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor to be infuriated. However, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had many descendants and many of them were at the Immortal King realm. This was especially so for his eldest son. He had already reached the peak stage of the Immortal King realm. In addition to the Emperor-ranked armor he wore, his might was even more terrifying, comparable to peak stage Immortal Kings. At this moment, Qin Wentian was currently hunting initial stage Immortal Kings, and he had already killed quite a few of them. For Immortal Kings, even in the chaotic battlefield, they would still be able to lock onto their opponents. Hence, everyone would do their best to fight against those at the same level as them. Unless they had absolute superiority, they wouldn't choose to fight against those with lower cultivation bases. This indicated that the situation was already one-sided, only to see that Qin Wentian killed yet another initial stage Immortal King. At this moment, Dongsheng Kuan turned his gaze over as coldness flickered in his eyes. With a step, he dashed towards Qin Wentian, appearing before Qin Wentian in an instant, blocking Qin Wentian's path of slaughter. Qin Wentian's eyes were extremely cold. A son of the Eastern Sage Immortal King? Dongsheng Kuan unleashed his law domain. As a mid-stage Immortal King, even though he was only at the initial stage, his law domain was still extremely terrifying. His law domain had the power to lacerate everything. Holy light shone behind him as his bloodline power erupted forth, causing his aura to reach a terrifying level. Die! Dongsheng Kuan coldly roared. A violent storm of lacerations gushed towards Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's expression turned heavy as light circulated around him. That fiend god physique of his was unexcelled in the world. The lacerations had no way to break through his law energy. This scene caused Dongsheng Kuan to frown. An initial stage Immortal King was actually able to block his law domain attack? Boom! Muffled sounds of thunder rang out. He lifted his fist, shining with holy light as he punched out. This punch seemed to be infused with the light of the heavens and earth, sweeping through everything. The fist light was extremely dazzling, containing a destructive might that could lacerate everything. This punch directly tore through the void. There was basically no time to react. Law energy gushed forth from Qin Wentian as he blasted out with his palms, manifesting a terrifying palm imprint of destruction. The two attacks collided, creating a destructive shockwave. Qin Wentian retreated as devil might gushed forth from him. A devil's saber appeared in his hands. At this moment, Paragon Golden Cauldron glanced over. He then spoke careful. He is the one who provoked my Dongsheng Gate and killed Wang Yu. His saber arts are extremely bizarre. Before this, Paragon Sky Rock warned everyone. Paragon Golden Cauldron instantly knew that Qin Wentian wasn't the only one who acted against him. Hence, everyone in the Dongsheng Gate knew of his existence. After all, he had killed the personal disciple of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, Wang Yu. Qi Qin Wentian directly slashed out with his saber. The churning devil might gushed forth like a ferocious dragon, slashing towards Dong Shangkuan. Dong Shangkuan lifted his fist and punched out. An even more powerful fist light swept out, shattering the saber light. Qin Wentian didn't hesitate and continued slashing out with his saber. The devil light in the air grew even more violent, containing a terrifying destructive might and sharp sword intent. Boom! Dong Shangkuan took a step forward, incomparably domineering as he blasted out a chain of punches. The heavens and earth resonated as holy light gushed forth. The might of his punches grew even stronger. The heavens and earth collided again. The saber light and the fist light were destroyed together, exuding terrifying might. Boundless destructive devil might gushed forth, infusing into Qin Wentian's devil saber. With a single slash, the space within 100 miles was destroyed. Dong Shangkuan seemed to want to see how strong Qin Wentian's devil saber was. He domineeringly stepped out and with a roar of rage, his fists stacked on top of each other, breaking apart everything. The devil's saber was shattered once again. Qin Wentian inclined his head as a demonic light flashed in his eyes. The wind and clouds howled as the devil might converged into a supreme saber intent. This saber intent seemed to have its own spirituality as it hummed in the air. The fourth saber strike? Dong Shangkuan's eyes were cold. His palms slashed out, causing a blinding holy light to shine. Both his fists punched out at the same time, covering the entire space. Kill! Qin Wentian emotionlessly spoke. As the saber slashed out, Dong Shangkuan only felt a devil saber of destruction appearing in his soul. After that, the saber slashed out, dodging the fist light as it slashed towards Dong Shangkuan. Careful! The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor stared at the battlefield. In an instant, a black-colored armor appeared around Dong Shangkuan, shining with the light of draconic scales. With a slash of his saber, Dong Shangkuan was sent flying through the air. Chapter 1393. What sort of character was Dong Shangkuan? He was the son of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. He would naturally have powerful treasures on him. That armor of darkness protected every corner of his body, and a sharp mask covered his entire face. Only a pair of cold eyes could be seen, coldly staring at Qin Wentian. Soul attack. Your fourth saber strike actually contained the power of a soul attack. Dong Shangkuan stared at Qin Wentian as he spoke, his words causing the others to be startled. This masked man was actually proficient in soul attacks? Was this the secret hidden within that mysterious fourth saber strike? Only to see Dong Shangkuan taking out another powerful divine weapon. This was a pair of gloves, and after wearing it, the aura radiating from Dong Shangkuan's palms grew even stronger, several times stronger than before. You are truly as shameless as your father, using divine weapons to deal with people whose cultivation bases are lower than yours. How shameless! Qin Wentian mocked. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor in the air furrowed his brows. He seemed to have heard this person's tone somewhere before. Killing your enemies is the #1 goal on the battlefield. Dong Shangkuan coldly spoke. He lifted his hands again as his law domain erupted forth. An even more powerful might gushed forth, and when his fist light blasted out once more, it blotted out the sky, piercing through space and blasting towards Qin Wentian in an instant, sweeping away everything in its path. Boom! Qin Wentian frenziedly unleashed his law domain. This was the domain of God's hand, filled with destructive devil might. Boundless God's hand manifested, unceasingly blasting out to defend against his opponent's attack. But right now Dong Shangkuan had no fear at all. With two divine weapons in his hands, how could he not kill Qin Wentian on the spot? That would be his greatest humiliation. Qin Wentian had no trace of fear at all. He stepped out, his eyes gleaming with a terrifying might. Within his law domain, devil law energy churned intensely, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. In the air, the silhouette of a supreme devil appeared as a supreme devil will descended, piercing into Dong Shangkuan's eyes. At this moment, Dong Shangkuan actually felt a sense of submission, wanting to submit to Qin Wentian. You guys invited a devil cultivator from the myriad devil islands? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke. Such a powerful devil art wouldn't exist in the immortal realms. Only a place like the myriad devil islands would have such a powerful devil art. Humph! The Emperor Qianbian coldly laughed. How could the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor not know who this person was? But it was no wonder. How could he have imagined that the immortal foundation character he looked down upon would already be able to fight against his son Dongsheng Kuan, who was at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm? Dongsheng Kuan blasted out with his fist, while Qin Wentian blasted out with his palms. Even if you borrow the power of a divine weapon, you won't be able to kill me. Qin Wentian spoke arrogantly. Stepping out, the devil might he exuded grew stronger and stronger, wanting to dominate the world. Dongsheng Kuan was naturally unwilling to accept this. He stepped out and frenziedly attacked. The distance between the two of them got closer and closer as his attacks shook the sky, wanting to destroy everything. The eyes of the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor stared at the battlefield. Under the pressure of the devil might, Dongsheng Kuan's will grew weaker and weaker as his aura dissipated. On the other hand, Qin Wentian's aura grew stronger and stronger. His palms frenziedly blasted out attacks. The god's hand within his law domain could destroy everything. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's expression kept changing. His immortal sense swept out, directly probing Qin Wentian's body, sensing Qin Wentian's aura. Eastern Sage, what are you doing? The Emperor Qianbian coldly spoke when he sensed Eastern Sage's immortal sense seeping into Qin Wentian's direction. He is Qin Wentian? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's expression was extremely ugly to behold. After the adjudication battle concluded, Qin Wentian was still at the 9th level of Immortal Foundation. How many years has it been since then? In just 10+ years, not only did he step into the Immortal King realm, he even stepped into the late stage of the initial stage. His combat prowess could even contend against his son, a mid-stage Immortal King. You only discovered this now? The Emperor Qianbian coldly laughed, confirming the guess of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. At this instant, a terrifying light gleamed in the eyes of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor as he stared at Qin Wentian. It's best not to interfere in the battlefield. The Thousand Transformations Emperor Lord calmly spoke. At this moment, Qin Wentian borrowed the power of the devil might, causing his aura to soar to the extreme. Countless streams of God's hand converged into a gigantic palm imprint that could annihilate the heavens and earth, blasting towards Dongsheng Kuan. Dongsheng Kuan roared in rage. His fist might gushed forth, wanting to destroy everything as the heavens and earth trembled. Dongsheng Kuan's holy fist light shattered everything as he continued to rush towards Qin Wentian. Go to hell! A thunderous sound rang out. His fists penetrated through everything, slamming into Qin Wentian's immortal body of laws. At this instant, numerous gazes turned over. Even the Emperor Qianbian froze. What was Qin Wentian doing? Why didn't he take out his divine weapon to fight? He actually allowed his opponent's attack to land. As for the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, a cold smile appeared on his face. He was very clear of Dongsheng Kuan's strength. If this punch landed, it was sufficient to take Qin Wentian's life. Qi! From Qin Wentian's eyes, two beams of terrifying devil light shot out. It was like a devil blade directly slashing into Dongsheng Kuan's soul, causing Dongsheng Kuan to instantly lose consciousness. After that, Qin Wentian lifted his hands and stabbed out with his fingers towards Dongsheng Kuan's eyes. You dare! The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor sat up from his throne, his rage towering up into the sky. Qin Wentian's body was flung through the air from the impact. His fingers also stabbed out as two beams of destructive saber intent directly pierced into Dongsheng Kuan's eyes. An instant later, a scream of agony rang out. This attack didn't merely pierce through Dongsheng Kuan's eyes. Dongsheng Kuan clutched his eyes with both hands as his body fell from the air. Kun. From afar, Dongsheng Yin's expression was filled with shock when he saw this scene. How could this be? Could it be that the reason Qin Wentian endured that attack was because he wanted to find a weak point in Dongsheng Kuan's armor? And deliver that attack into Dongsheng Kuan's eyes? Qin Wentian himself was also flung through the air. He coughed out a mouthful of blood as a ruthless light flashed in his eyes. This attack should be sufficient, right? Even if Dongsheng Kuan didn't die, he would still be crippled. Dongsheng Yin and Paragon Golden Cauldron both rushed towards Dongsheng Kuan, temporarily leaving the battlefield. As for Tuoba Saint Sky, he flew towards Qin Wentian, instantly arriving beside Qin Wentian as he asked, "Are you all right? If I was killed by the son of that old dog Dongsheng, Wouldn't that be too embarrassing? Qin Wentian removed his mask, revealing his pale countenance. His eyes were like lightning as he stared at the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor in the air. Vile creature. The killing intent in the eyes of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor soared to the extreme. At the same time he felt shock in his heart. How could this be? Under Dongsheng Kuan's attack, Qin Wentian was actually still in such a state of mind? It was as though he was merely injured and his life wasn't in danger. On the contrary, his attack had almost taken Dongsheng Kuan's life. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, don't forget the rules. You are the one who allowed your son to participate in the battle. You cannot interfere. The Emperor Qianbian coldly spoke. He also stood up, facing the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. Kill him. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor icily commanded. His killing intent towards Qin Wentian had already reached the extreme. Many experts rushed towards the direction of Qin Wentian, wanting to kill Qin Wentian. This was also the reason why Qin Wentian chose to conceal his identity earlier. Tuoba Saint Sky and the others all sped over, standing guard beside Qin Wentian. With Qin Wentian at the center, an earth-shattering battle erupted. This time around, even those rational immortal kings forgot to search for opponents of the same level as them and started a chaotic battle. The other three battlefields were also extremely intense. Several figures rushed over from another battlefield. They were none other than Qiyu and the other two peak-stage immortal kings. They were all peak-stage immortal kings and their immortal senses were extremely powerful. When they learned that Qin Wentian was in danger, they immediately rushed over. Only in that battlefield, the remaining 33 immortal kings were more than enough to deal with it. The three peak-stage immortal kings appeared and unleashed their battle saint art. In just an instant, numerous immortal kings died. Right now, the immortal kings were like ants, slaughtered frenziedly. Kill him. Qin Wentian pointed his finger at Dongsheng Yin as he spoke. Since the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor wanted to kill him, he would kill his son Dongsheng Yin. Qiyu and the other two nodded and directly rushed towards Dongsheng Yin. Three gigantic palm imprints covered the sky as they blasted towards Dongsheng Yin. Impudent. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was so angered that his face turned ashen. Back then, an ant-like character from a particle world whom he had given up on as a disciple actually forced him to such a state? How preposterous! Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, you are the one who initiated this immortal war. Are you unable to bear the consequences now? The Emperor Qianbian coldly spoke. Stop the battle. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coldly spoke when he saw the three peak-stage immortal kings surrounding Dongsheng Yin. An immortal war isn't something you can stop just because you want to. The Emperor Qianbian spoke. At this moment, the silhouette of Paragon Sky Rock shot over, radiating his emperor might, enveloping the area below, causing the expressions of the three peak-stage immortal kings to change. Bai Wuya's silhouette flashed as he appeared before Paragon Sky Rock. His eyes were terrifying as light cascaded downwards. Similarly, Emperor Might gushed forth, enveloping Paragon Sky Rock. However, at this moment, another Paragon character appeared. It was a Paragon at the Immortal Emperor realm. Upon seeing the three peak-stage immortal kings surrounding Dongsheng Yin, he stepped out and grabbed out with his palm. A powerful force directly blocked Qiyu's attack and even forced Qiyu back. A beam of sword light shot over from the horizons, shooting towards Dongsheng Yin. At this moment, Dongsheng Yin inclined his head as a look of terror appeared on his face. The expression of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor changed as his eyes gleamed with sharpness. Yin, flee! He roared, but it was too late. That beam of sword light was simply too fast. With a piercing sound, Dongsheng Yin was directly killed. He didn't even have the chance to resist. At this moment, an immortal emperor appeared in the air, descending onto the battlefield. This man was clad in long robes and exuded a transcendent aura. The expression of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor turned ashen, as gloomy as water. Of his two sons, one was blinded and crippled while the other was killed. No matter how good his endurance was, he couldn't endure it any longer. A fearsome wave of Emperor Might bore down from the sky. How dare you be so impudent? The Emperor Might of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor enveloped everyone. If it wasn't for an immortal emperor interfering, he would have already been killed. Since you guys broke the rules, you naturally have to pay the price. That immortal emperor coldly spoke. Chapter 1394. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's rage seemed to want to incinerate this entire space as a fearsome might gush downwards. Price? The price is to kill my son? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor roared in rage. His palms slammed downwards as a thunderous boom rang out. The immortal Qinbian Gate's grand hall was razed to flat ground. Dongsheng, you allowed your descendants to participate in the war, allowing them to temper themselves through life and death. When they encountered danger, your subordinates interfered. This is already a violation of the rules of the immortal war. If your subordinates didn't interfere, Dongsheng Yin would have died. What qualifications do you have to be angry? The Emperor Qianbian blocked the path of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, his eyes gleaming with coldness. As to why emperor-ranked battles wouldn't erupt so easily, it was unknown how many people would be implicated if they did. But when they saw Dongsheng Yin's death, everyone understood that there would definitely be an immortal emperor-ranked battle today. Also, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor would definitely not spare the immortal Qinbian Gate. This immortal war would no longer be a matter of who could leave the 13 prefectures. Most probably, things would go out of control. This was also because the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was too overconfident. He felt that not only would he be able to expel the immortal Qinbian Gate, he would also be able to completely destroy the immortal Qinbian Gate, burying them here to intimidate the world. But as the war erupted, things didn't go as smoothly as he had imagined. The strength of the immortal Qinbian Gate was so strong that it caused his heart to tremble, surpassing his expectations step by step. This lasted until he allowed his descendants to participate in the war, until Dongsheng Kuan was blinded and crippled by Qin Wentian. Right now, he was still under the protection of Paragon Golden Cauldron. At that time he was already extremely enraged, but he endured it and didn't act. He gave the order to kill Qin Wentian. He wanted Qin Wentian to die to avenge his son Dongsheng Kuan. However, not only was Qin Wentian not killed, his eldest son Dongsheng Yin, a peak-stage immortal emperor, was ambushed and killed by an immortal emperor. In addition to the fact that his youngest son Dongsheng Ting was assassinated by a mysterious person in the God Hand Mountain Manor, this had already exceeded the limits of what Dongsheng Ting could endure. For countless years, he ruled the 13 prefectures and was incomparably awe-inspiring. Now that all his children had died, how could he endure this? Below, the battles at the Immortal Foundation level all halted. In fact, there were even many among the immortal kings who halted their steps as they stared at the sky in shock. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor spared no expense to destroy the immortal Qinbian Gate. This time around, the immortal Qinbian Gate also acted ruthlessly, killing Dongsheng Yin. This meant that they wouldn't rest until one of them died. What right do I have to be angry? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's aura became even more violent. The starlight in the sky shone on his body, containing a shocking radiance. His huge body was like a god. I want all of you to die. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor roared in rage. Emperor Qinbian's body was also bathed in boundless divine light. His aura enveloped Dongsheng as he spoke. In that case, let the battle begin. Rumble. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor didn't attack Emperor Qinbian. He stretched his hand out as a towering palm imprint blasted towards Qin Wentian, Qi Yu and the others. The ones he wanted to kill first were none other than Qin Wentian and Qi Yu. Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, don't forget that your children are still here. If you do this, all of them will die together. The Emperor Qianbian icily spoke. Boundless lightning crackled around him as he shot towards the other children of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, radiating a towering killing intent. If the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor wanted to kill them all, even if Dongsheng Heaven Emperor used all his strength to defend, Dongsheng Heaven Emperor might still be able to find an opportunity to take advantage of. As the sound of this cold voice faded, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor halted his attack. His cold eyes stared at the Emperor Qianbian as he shouted, "Everyone, how long are you guys going to continue watching the show?" From an extremely far away location, there seemed to be an aura drifting over. This caused everyone to understand that so many major characters of the eastern regions weren't just paying attention to this battle. In fact, they had already personally arrived, it's just that they didn't show themselves. Numerous figures stepped out, instantly causing the hearts of countless people to tremble. Many of these figures were supreme characters whose names shook the entire eastern regions. All of them were true hegemons at the peak of the immortal realms. Dongsheng, are you angry because you lost? This isn't like you. A voice rang out. Dongxing's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. The person who spoke was none other than the Chongqing the Great. His words were filled with mockery. He had indeed lost the bearing of a hegemon. However, he couldn't care so much anymore. Today he had to kill some people no matter what. Chongqing, you went crazy just because I wanted your daughter to marry into the Sky Mist Empire. And today there are people who killed my children. What do you think I should do? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor stared at the Chongqing the Great. Back then they could be considered to have some friendship. After all, they were both peak characters of the Eastern region's immortal emperors. They were naturally acquainted with each other, and their relationship could even be considered quite good. It was just that because of the complicated relationship between Qin Wentian and Qing Qin Wentian and the immortal Qianbian Gate, Dongshengshen Gate and the immortal Qianbian Gate, Dongsheng Heaven Emperor stood on the opposite side of the Chongqing the Great. In fact, he even stood on the opposite side and participated in the emperor-ranked battle. In that case, their so-called friendship naturally turned into ashes. After that battle they became enemies. How can you even be qualified to speak of my situation in the same breath? The Chongqing the Great coldly mocked. You were the one who wanted to send your children to participate in the war. Due to his lack of skills he was killed by others. If you want to blame someone, ask yourself first. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's expression turned extremely ugly to behold. However, he had no way to refute this. Also, he knew that the reason why the Chongqing the Great stood out to mock him was because of Qin Wentian. After the adjudication battle, the Chongqing the Great announced to the world that his daughter, Evergreen Qing'er, would be betrothed to Qin Wentian. This Qin Wentian was his future son-in-law. Also, this future son-in-law of his was so outstanding, rising up in the immortal realms in a short few tens of years, his name shaking the entire eastern regions. Right now he has already broken through to the immortal king realm, and even defeated a mid-stage immortal king, Dongshankuan. Such an accomplishment was truly shocking. Evergreen, your words aren't right. Although an immortal war erupted between both sides, isn't it a little too brazen for an immortal emperor to kill the son of Dongshankuan? A rebuttal rang out. The person who spoke was clad in violet robes. It was none other than the peak stage immortal emperor Zidi. The immortal emperors who appeared here were all immortal emperors who participated in the emperor-ranked war in the Evergreen Kingdom. This war between the Dongshengshen Gate and the immortal Qianbian Gate was simply a continuation of the emperor-ranked war. If it wasn't for the subordinates of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor interfering, Dongxingyin would have died as well. The Chongqing the Great spoke. I have no idea about that. I only know that an initial stage immortal king crippled Dongshankuan, and even gave the order to kill Dongxingyin. Tell me, where did this ant-like junior get his courage from? Zidi coldly spoke. His sharp gaze turned to Qin Wentian as his might bore down on Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian to raise his head and stare at Zidi. An ant? Right now, he definitely couldn't be called an ant. Even in front of Zidi, he was still extremely weak. This sentence of Zidi was undoubtedly intentionally directing the anger of Eastern Sage onto him. To think that a peak-stage immortal emperor of the immortal realms would actually use such underhanded methods to deal with an ant. Qin Wentian mockingly laughed. Impudent. Zidi stepped out, causing the air to tremble. Qin Wentian only felt his entire body trembling. What an uncultured thing speaking to a senior like this. Do you believe that I won't kill you with a wave of my hand? Zidi coldly threatened. Qin Wentian's eyes turned cold. Seems like this Zidi's killing intent towards him was extremely strong. Even if he was at the immortal king realm, it was still insufficient. He had to quickly grow stronger. At that time, who would dare to speak to him in such a manner? Zidi, you are a peak stage immortal emperor. It's not too good for you to threaten a junior like this, right? The Chongqing the Great unhappily spoke. What? Brother Chongqing's daughter hasn't married yet, and you are already speaking up for your son-in-law? Zidi coldly laughed. In addition, this place isn't the Evergreen Kingdom. Even if it's you, what qualifications do you have to speak to me? The Chongqing the Great was at the peak stage of the mid-stage, but he was still a step away from the peak stage of the immortal emperor realm. Although it was just a small step, it was extremely difficult to cross. The Chongqing the Great needed to borrow the power of the evergreen tree before he could fight against Zidi. What about me? I should be sufficient, right? A voice rang out. Ziti stared at the person who spoke as his expression turned unsightly. You are truly a lingering spirit that won't disperse. A peak-stage immortal emperor bullying an immortal king junior. Can't you say anything? For a character like you, if you were placed in the era of ancient emperor, you wouldn't even be qualified. If you dared to say such words in front of ancient emperor, he would definitely give you a tight slap. That person spoke. So it turned out that this person was none other than the follower of ancient emperor back then, Emperor Yu. Stop using ancient emperor to pressure me. Do you think that just because you were a servant of ancient emperor for a few years, you are superior to others? This emperor Yu would spoil his plans every time he appeared, causing him to be extremely unhappy. Yet, this old fellow was actually a peak-stage immortal emperor. I don't feel that way. It's just that you have cultivated for a longer period of time compared to others. You keep saying that others don't have the qualifications to speak to you. Could it be that you don't understand that since ancient times, the later generations would always replace the older generations? If one day he surpasses you, where would you place your face? Emperor Yu coldly laughed. You Ziti, do you think your cultivation speed is as fast as his? Ziti stared at him only to hear Emperor Yu continuing. I have fate with this junior. In addition, he also has the inheritance of ancient emperor. Let me remind you, it's easy for you to kill him, but it's also easy for me to kill your descendants. Are you threatening me? Ziti coldly stared at Emperor Yu. If you threaten him, I'll threaten you. Emperor Yu didn't care. Their gazes collided in the air, causing a powerful pressure to surge forth. Also today, the battle between the Dongshangshan Gate and the Immortal Champion Gate of the 13 prefectures shall be conducted according to the rules. I've followed ancient Emperor and witnessed many immortal wars. I've seen ancient Emperor unifying the world step by step. At that time, no one dared to disobey the rules or they would be killed. In this era, although there are no ancient emperors who can dominate the world, since I've encountered them, let's just do it according to the rules. If there's an emperor-ranked battle, let it be an emperor-ranked battle. Immortal emperors are forbidden from acting against those of a lower cultivation base. Emperor Yu flicked his sleeves as he coldly spoke, laying down the rules. Aren't you meddling in too much? The Dongshang Heaven Emperor coldly stared at Emperor Yu. You are right, I'll meddle in this. If you are unhappy, you can fight me. Emperor Yu coldly spoke, incomparably tyrannical, causing countless people to sigh in admiration. This was true strength. All words were useless. Strength was everything. Chapter 1395. When has the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor ever suffered such humiliation before? Today, 2 of his sons were in danger and he who wanted revenge was actually threatened by someone who was stronger than him. How great of a humiliation was this? He, the Dongshang Heaven Emperor, the overlord of the 13 prefectures, was actually suppressed by someone stronger than him. This was simply too miserable. He had lost all his face. Since this is an immortal war between the Dongshangshan Gate and the Immortal Champion Gate, it's fine for all of you to just watch the show. Chongqing the Great spoke. That's right. Let's end this immortal war with an emperor-level battle. Why is there a need to kill so many people? The victor of the emperor-level battle shall rule the 13 prefectures while the loser shall leave. Emperor Yu emotionlessly spoke. The Dongshang Heaven Emperor laughed, glancing at Ziti and the others. They didn't say anything. It seems like they didn't intend to interfere. In this immortal war, the ones being exhausted were the strength of the Dongshangshan Gate and the Immortal Champion Gate. What does this have to do with the other powers? In addition, this battle allowed them to clearly see all the trump cards of the Immortal Champion Gate. Most probably, they would be more than happy to watch an emperor-level battle. Below, regardless of immortal kings or immortal foundation characters, all stopped fighting as they stared up at the sky. With so many immortal emperors descending, this immortal war was already out of control. The people of the Dongshangshan Gate all had ashen expressions. They felt sorrow in their hearts when they saw so many of their comrades falling. This time around, they sent their troops to the Immortal Champion Gate, thinking that they would be able to raise the Immortal Champion Gate to the ground. Who would have thought that the ending would be like this? What if it's a draw? Ziti asked. Back then, the reason why the Immortal Champion Gate won its 6 prefectures was because they fought to a draw with the Dongshang Heaven Emperor. Both sides couldn't do anything to the other. Hence they could only divide the 13 prefectures among themselves. If it's a draw, then it's up to them. Truce is fine too. They can continue fighting until only one of them is left. Emperor, you calmly spoke. In an immortal war, if the peak characters couldn't do anything to their opponents and the difference in strength between them wasn't too great, they would usually choose the former option. If not, only one side would die. Of course, if one side had an absolute advantage, they would choose to wipe out the other side. Just like this time, the Dongshangshan Gate believed that they had an absolute advantage, so they sent their troops to wipe out the 6 western prefectures. They fought all the way to the headquarters of the immortal Qianbian Gate and razed the immortal palace to the ground. How can we leave without destroying the immortal Qianbian Gate? The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor soared up into the air as his battle might engulfed the area. At the same time, the 2 paragons under him also soared up into the air, standing on both sides of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. The eyes of the Emperor Qianbian turned cold. He soared up into the air and landed on the opposite side of the Dongshangshan Gate. As for Bai Wuya and that old man, they stood on both sides of the Emperor Qianbian. Regardless of the number of immortal emperors on both sides were equal. Next, they would be competing based on pure combat prowess. Back then, when Bai Wuya killed the descendants of immortal emperors, it was this pure Yang Sword Emperor who stood up for him. I didn't expect his relationship with Bai Wuya to be so good to such an extent. Even during the emperor-ranked war between the Dongshangshan Gate and the immortal Qianbian Gate, he even stood on Bai Wuya's side. Someone's side. Only now did Qin Wentian know that this old man was none other than the immortal emperor who stood up for Bai Wuya back then, the pure Yang Sword Emperor. However, Bai Wuya didn't disappoint the pure Yang Sword Emperor. His improvement is very fast, and now, his cultivation base has actually caught up to the pure Yang Sword Emperor. Naturally, it's too difficult to break through after reaching the immortal emperor realm. Everyone stared at the 6 immortal emperors in the air. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor stood against the Emperor Qianbian, Bai Wuya stood against Paragon Tantai, and the pure Yang Sword Emperor stood against Paragon Sky Rock. In the boundlessly vast starry space, resplendent astral light cascaded downwards, instantly illuminating the entire sky, transforming it into a world of astral light. The 6 immortal emperors all shone together with the astral light, borrowing the power of the astral light, transforming it into law might, allowing them to directly borrow the power of the astral light to do battle. People of the Dongshangshan Gate, listen up. After this battle, there will no longer be any Eastern Sage 13 prefectures in the immortal realms. From now on, the 13 prefectures will be governed by the immortal Qianbian Gate. In this immortal war, many immortals have fallen. It isn't easy to cultivate, and the path to immortality is even more arduous. I don't wish to see more casualties and more people dying here. For those from the Dongshangshan Gate, leave the battlefield now, and my immortal Qianbian Gate will let bygones be bygones. If you still refuse to leave, you better consider the consequences yourself. Bai Wuya's voice thundered through the heavens and earth. His voice contained an intense self-confidence, as though in this emperor-level battle, the 3 immortal emperors of the immortal Qianbian Gate would definitely be victorious for sure. Countless experts of the Dongshangshan Gate felt their hearts trembling. Now that the battle has reached this point, their confidence was slowly eroded away. Even the descendants of the immortal Qianbian Gate had such a miserable ending. Indeed, they had too much hope for this immortal war. Many people felt disheartened. This was especially so for immortal Foundation characters. When they saw their comrades and friends dying like weeds, and how many of them died in a single sweep, only they themselves could understand the impact of this. Shameless boasting. Paragon Tantai's aura was incomparably tyrannical. He stepped out, causing light to illuminate the sky. With a wave of his hand, an extremely tyrannical attack instantly appeared before Bai Wuya. The speed of the attack was simply inconceivable. Bai Wuya's eyes gleamed with intense astral light. His eyes flickered with a divine glow, directly enveloping his opponent's attack, instantly shattering it. Boom! Paragon Tantai abruptly stepped out. A boundless tyrannical aura radiated from him, causing this entire space to tremble unstably. Even for the experts below, they could feel the heavens and earth trembling, as though it was about to shatter. A battle between immortal emperors, the might exuded by it caused the hearts of everyone to tremble. However, Bai Wuya didn't seem to feel anything. He directly stepped out as a divine glow shot out from his eyes. At this instant, the projection of his divine eyes appeared, enveloping the entire space. In fact, a surge of destructive might directly gushed into Paragon Tantai's body, ignoring his defenses, wanting to destroy everything. Scram! Tyrannical might erupted forth from Paragon Tantai. He clenched his fist, causing the heavens and earth to shatter. However, after everything was destroyed, Bai Wuya still stood there, a white-robed immortal emperor, unparalleled in his generation. How powerful! Bai Wuya's eyes seemed to be able to form a world of their own, unparalleled in might. The hearts of everyone trembled. At this moment, the other two emperor-ranked battles also erupted. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor and the Emperor Qianbian borrowed the power of astral light from the constellations. Their battle shook the heavens and earth, causing only destructive might to exist. Bolts of immortal lightning unceasingly rained down, causing people to feel despair. Just a single strand of lightning was enough to destroy someone. Luckily, there were immortal emperors below. They unleashed their strength and blocked the attacks from the sky. The last battle was between Paragon Skyrock and the Pure Yang Sword Emperor. Paragon Skyrock had the speed of a Skyrock as well as supreme attacks. Each of his strikes were faster than lightning, capable of tearing apart the void. However, regardless of speed or attack, the Pure Yang Sword Emperor wasn't any weaker compared to Paragon Skyrock. His sword glowed with the pure light of the sun, and when it cascaded down from the sky, it was even more resplendent compared to the battle between Eastern Sage and the Thousand Transformations. Infused into his pure Yang sword art, each of his attacks were inconceivably powerful. Paragon Skyrock actually didn't dare to clash head-on against him. At this moment, pure sunlight cascaded down from the sky, enveloping this entire space. The Pure Yang Sword Emperor pointed his finger forward as millions upon millions of beams of light shot towards Paragon Skyrock. Each beam of light contained pure Yang sword might. Paragon Skyrock arced through the void, flickering like a heavenly rock. His speed was inconceivably fast, and he could evade all attacks in a flash. But at this moment, the Pure Yang Sword Emperor's figure descended and slashed down with his sword. The entire void was enveloped by a destructive sword might. Paragon Skyrock roared. He blasted out with his palms as millions of rocks shot out in anger. Instantly, the sounds of explosions rang out unceasingly. The Pure Yang Sword Emperor directly rushed into the fray as beams of sword light slashed out. Each of his sword strikes contained a supremely powerful attack. In just a short instant, countless beams of sword might slashed out. Paragon Skyrock is trapped. The eyes of everyone flashed. The powerful Paragon Skyrock was trapped in an area by the Pure Yang Sword Emperor's sword art. If this continued, Paragon Skyrock would definitely be defeated. Bai Wuya also has the upper hand. They then turned their gazes to another battlefield. Bai Wuya was fighting against Paragon Tantai. Bai Wuya had the upper hand and was slowly closing in, actually injuring his opponent. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor basically can't do anything to the Emperor of Qianbian. In fact, he's being held back by the Emperor of Qianbian. The situation of the three Emperor-ranked battles caused everyone to be taken aback. There were Immortal Foundation experts of the Dongshengshan Gate who started to retreat. What was the purpose of them joining the Dongshengshan Gate? Undoubtedly, it was because of strength. But now, it seemed that they might lose this Emperor-ranked battle and their lives would be in danger. What meaning was there for them to stay? There was no need for them to die together with the Dongshengshan Gate. After that, more and more people started to retreat. The moment someone retreated, a chain reaction would occur. The army of the Dongshengshan Gate was in an uproar. First, it was the Immortal Foundation experts. After that, the Immortal King experts also started to retreat. All of them were prepared to listen to Bai Wuya's advice and retreat. The situation is already over. Everyone silently mused when they saw this scene. Trash. The immortal emperors of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom also arrived. When they saw the situation of the Dongshengshan Gate's defeat, they cursed silently in their hearts. They came here in such a grandiose manner, yet they were actually defeated. 3 immortal emperors were suppressed. The Dongshengshan Gate couldn't be revived. They even wasted their efforts to reinforce some powerful immortal kings of the Dongshengshan Gate. Some of them even died in battle. Their losses were extremely heavy. Zidi's countenance was extremely unsightly. The immortal Qianbian Gate was originally on the same side as the Chongqing the Great. Clearly, they weren't willing to see the immortal Qianbian Gate grow stronger. However, now the situation was already over. The immortal Qianbian Gate's rule over the 13 prefectures was already unstoppable. What do you all think? Zidi transmitted his voice to the immortal emperors. A defeat is a defeat, but it's fine as well. After this defeat, Eastern Sage's many years of hard work would all go to waste. In addition to the fact that his son was killed, he would definitely go crazy. Zidi coldly transmitted his voiceover. The immortal emperors all understood in their hearts. Even if the immortal Qianbian Gate had the advantage, it was impossible for them to kill Eastern Sage. As long as Eastern Sage didn't die, he would go all out for revenge. Chapter 1396. As the battle continued, the two paragons, Tantai and Wind Rock, were on the verge of collapsing. They were being suppressed to their limits, and it seemed like they wouldn't be able to hold on much longer. Also, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor himself was being held back by the thousands of clones. He basically had no time to help his two subordinates. Retreat. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor spoke. A moment later, those who had yet to retreat felt as though they had been granted amnesty. After all, some of them were core characters of the Dongshengshen Gate. If the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor wanted to settle the score with them, none of them would be able to escape. All of them would die. However, as the sound of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor's voice faded, everyone no longer had any reservations and started to retreat. Before this, I told you guys to retreat, but you guys didn't. Now that you guys are retreating, it's too late. Kill them all. The Emperor Qianbian coldly spoke, his voice shaking the heavens and earth. Before the emperor-ranked battle erupted, the Dongshengshen Gate still had the ability to resist. The Immortal Kings and Immortal Foundation experts weren't much weaker. This was especially so for the Immortal Foundation realm. The Emperor Qianbian gave the enemy a chance to retreat in order to reduce the casualties on his side. After all, he didn't wish for the people of the Immortal Qianbian Gate to die in battle. However, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor wasn't willing to do so. He wouldn't rest until he annihilated them. Now that the emperor-ranked battle had already begun, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was certain that they would win for sure. The people of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor started to flee one after another. Their morale crumbled. Now that they had the absolute advantage, how could they allow their enemies to retreat? Kill him. Qin Wentian commanded Qi Yu and the others, pointing his finger at Paragon Golden Cauldron. Since the immortal battle had already reached this state, they might as well wipe out the main force of their enemies, reducing the amount of trouble the immortal Qianbian Gate might encounter. After this immortal battle, the immortal Qianbian Gate would unify the 13 prefectures. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor would definitely hate them to the core, and there was no doubt that he would take revenge. Also, those loyal to the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor would also participate in the revenge. In that case, these loyal characters must be the first to be slaughtered. Qin Wentian also stepped out, chasing after the people of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. Right now, everything was already set in stone. Everyone understood that this immortal battle has ended. The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor wasn't merely defeated. He was defeated miserably. Ooh! At this moment, an incomparably resplendent sword of pure yang manifested in the air, wanting to annihilate everything. Even space itself was about to be turned into ashes. A terrifying sound of collision rang out as the crowd heard a thunderous roar reverberating through the air. There was an incomparably terrifying amount of destructive energy in the air. Paragon Skyrock's body. Even though he was unleashed to be, he was of Paragon, of paragons of blood. Did an immortal emperor die today? The hearts of everyone trembled when they saw this scene. The pure Yang Sword Emperor actually relied on his own strength to kill an immortal emperor. Paragon Skyrock? Die! With a loud roar, boundless light radiated from the sword as the pure Yang energy cascaded downwards. Paragon Skyrock howled. His body started to burn as terrifying sword chi wreaked havoc in his body. I'm unwilling. Paragon Skyrock howled in grief. After that, he turned into ashes, vanishing from this world. The boundless light dissipated, signifying the death of an immortal emperor. This was an immortal battle. No matter how powerful an existence was, there would always be a chance of death. After the pure Yang Sword Emperor killed Paragon Sky Rock, his silhouette flashed as he sped towards another battlefield. This was the battlefield between Bai Wuya and Paragon Tantai. In this battlefield, Bai Wuya was already suppressing his opponent. If he was given enough time, he might even be able to kill Paragon Sky Rock alone. But once the pure Yang Sword Emperor joined in, there was no doubt that this would be the doomsday of Paragon Tantai. Regarding this point, Paragon Tantai naturally understood as well. Hence, when the pure Yang Sword Emperor rushed towards his battlefield, he started to retreat, wanting to leave the battlefield. He understood the strength of Paragon Sky Rock, and the pure Yang Sword Emperor had already killed him. From this, he could tell how strong the pure Yang Sword Emperor was. If he joined forces with Bai Wuya again, only death would await him. At this moment he could only leave. However, how could Bai Wuya allow him to leave so easily? Right now, his thoughts were the same as many others. Since things have already reached this stage, he should kill the core members of the pure Yang Sword Emperor if he could. Being merciful to one's enemies was equivalent to being cruel to oneself. Banish. Bai Wuya coldly spoke. A heavenly eye appeared in the sky. The light from this eye directly enveloped Paragon Tantai, locking him in place. Paragon Tantai was incomparably tyrannical, wanting to break through everything. He wanted to leave, but he discovered that he was trapped within, unable to do so. The figure of the pure Yang Sword Emperor arrived. Everyone sighed when they saw this scene. This time around, Paragon Tantai was destined to face his doomsday. Just Bai Wuya alone was already enough to cause Paragon Tantai to have no way to deal with him. With the addition of the pure Yang Sword Emperor who killed Paragon Sky Rock, the ending could already be predicted. Two immortal emperors joined forces. And as expected, Paragon Tantai was soon in imminent danger. After that, under the gazes of everyone, Bai Wuya and the pure Yang Sword Emperor's attacks blasted into his body. A terrifying destructive might erupted forth as an unwilling scream of misery rang out. Yet another immortal emperor died on the spot. Two immortal emperors died, killed. Bai Wuya and the pure Yang Sword Emperor exchanged glances. After that, their silhouettes flashed as they sped towards the final battlefield, the battlefield where the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor and Emperor Qianbian were at. Although they were still far away, the pure Yang Sword Emperor already slashed out with his sword. Bai Wuya's eyes gleamed with a terrifying light. Although they were initial stage immortal emperors and couldn't threaten Dongsheng Heaven Emperor, their attacks could at least cause him to feel troubled. In that case, his hands and legs would be tied. At the level of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor and Emperor Qianbian, a moment of distraction was sufficient to deal a fatal blow. Everyone was very clear about this point. At this instant, countless terrifying fist lights manifested in the air, destroying everything. Thunderous rumbling sounds rang out unceasingly. The Emperor Qianbian's incarnations all exploded. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor stepped out, his eyes staring in the direction of Qin Wentian as terrifying law might gush towards Qin Wentian like a raging storm. Unruly. An intense light erupted from Emperor Yu as an incomparably resplendent arrow appeared, causing Eastern Sage's expression to turn ashen. However, the surge of energy still shot towards Qin Wentian. Qi. An arrow shot out, traversing through the air. Eastern Sage roared in rage as he blasted out a boundless holy annihilation fist. However, the arrow directly penetrated through, slamming into his immortal body. His body twisted and a piercing sound rang out as a wound appeared on his waist. At the same time, his body was flung far away. "Father, save me!" A roar rang out. This was the voice of a son of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. Bai Wuya's eyes radiated might, enveloping this son of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. "Bai Wuya, you dare!" Eastern Sage roared. "You asked for it." Bai Wuya coldly spoke. "Die!" As the sound of his voice faded, another son of Eastern Sage screamed in agony as he was directly killed by Bai Wuya. "Eastern Sage, you were the one who didn't follow the rules first. Don't blame me for being ruthless." Emperor Qianbian coldly spoke. "For those who enter the Dongshengshen Gate, kill them all without mercy." The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor stared at the scene before him. Another son of his begged for help, but he couldn't save him. This time around, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor felt as though his heart was being pierced by blades. With a groan of misery, The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor coughed out a mouthful of fresh blood. Emperor Yu, what do you mean by participating in this immortal war? Zidi coldly spoke. Although he didn't mind the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor being defeated, he couldn't allow Eastern Sage to die here. Before this, I've already reminded you not to break the rules. If there's a next time, it won't just be a single arrow. Emperor Yu coldly spoke. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor glanced at the scene below. A good game of chess turned into a checkmate. Almost all of his forces were wiped out. In fact, even the descendants he brought here all died here. Ha! All of a sudden, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor started laughing uproariously. His eyes gleamed with a blood-red light as he stared at the Emperor Qianbian, Emperor Yu, Bai Wuya and Qin Wentian. His killing intent towards these four rose to the extreme. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had never wanted to kill so much before. But he couldn't kill these people. Just a single Emperor Yu was enough to make him suffer miserably. However, Emperor Yu also couldn't kill him. Because Eastern Sage knew that if Emperor Yu truly wanted to kill him, Zidi and the others would definitely act. Right now, everyone knew that although Emperor Yu appeared to be neutral, appearing as a follower of an ancient emperor, in truth, he was on the side of the immortal Qinbian Gate. Or more accurately, he was on the side of Qin Wentian, the successor of ancient Emperor Yi. Everything that happened today, Eastern Sage will remember it. The long hair of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor fluttered madly in the wind. He no longer had the air of a ruler. The him at this moment seemed to have gone mad. His cold eyes swept over everyone before he turned and departed. The Emperor Qianbian didn't chase after him. Although they could suppress Eastern Sage, it was basically impossible for them to kill him. Let alone the fact that Zidi and the others were here as well. They wouldn't allow the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor to die. Farewell. Zidi and the others also departed when they saw that the battle had ended. They initially hoped for Eastern Sage to win, but the Dongsheng Gate was too disappointing and ended up in such a miserable state. But what did this have to do with them? As long as the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was still alive, everything would be fine. The Emperor Qianbian and the others didn't feel any joy from victory. Although this victory caused everyone to heave a sigh of relief, they couldn't feel any joy when they stared at the corpses on the ground. How many experts had died in this immortal war? Also, Eastern Sage didn't die. He would definitely be a huge hidden danger. Qin Wentian also furrowed his brows. Although they won this battle, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had already been forced to the brink of madness. The so-called rules could no longer bind him. In the future, as long as the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor finds an opportunity, he would definitely kill him, as well as those from the immortal Qianbian Gate. To a madman, there was nothing he wouldn't do. Rebuild the immortal sect. For now, don't leave the Cloud Prefecture city. Let the 13 prefectures operate on their own. Ignore them for now. The Emperor Qianbian commanded. As long as the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor didn't die, it was better for them not to govern the 13 prefectures. If not, they would just be sending people to be killed by the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. But since they won this battle, the 13 prefectures could already be considered as the property of the immortal Qianbian Gate. Chapter 1397. After everyone left, the immortal Qianbian Gate cleaned up the aftermath of the battle. For those who contributed, their names would be recorded down. At the same time, those who were proficient in Earth attribute energy were sent to rebuild the immortal gate. The immortal Qianbian Gate has to expand. In the future, our immortal gate will be erected in the Cloud Prefecture city. Everyone from the immortal Qianbian Gate will stay in the immortal gate and inscribe a grand formation in the surroundings. Emperor Qianbian spoke. Everyone nodded silently. They had to be more careful in the future. The existence of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor would definitely be a huge problem in the future. This was the reason why immortal wars and emperor-level battles wouldn't erupt easily. Once an immortal war erupted, if the immortal emperors of the other side couldn't be killed, it would be a huge hidden danger. If an immortal emperor put down his pride and went to hunt the juniors of your sect, the consequences would be extremely severe. Before this, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was already showing signs of madness. He would definitely not give up so easily. Wuya Wentian. Emperor Qianbian called out. A moment later, Bai Wuya and Qin Wentian stepped out, walking to the side of the Emperor Qianbian. The two of you have to be especially careful. The first target that the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor wants to deal with might be the two of you. Emperor Qianbian spoke. Everyone could sense the hatred the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had for Bai Wuya and Qin Wentian. Naturally, there was also the Emperor Qianbian and Emperor Yu. However, the Emperor Qianbian and Emperor Yu were strong enough, Eastern Sage wouldn't be able to deal with them. In that case, there was a high possibility that the Emperor Qianbian would target Qin Wentian and Bai Wuya. Qin Wentian nodded. Wentian, why don't you come to my imperial palace? As for the wedding between you and Qing'er, the two of you will have to discuss it yourselves. If Eastern Sage dares to cause trouble in the Evergreen Kingdom, he will definitely pay a price. Chongqing the Great walked over. Qin Wentian's growth caused him to be shocked. Before this, although he had betrothed Qing'er to Qin Wentian, he still felt that the wedding would take many years. However, he didn't expect that Qin Wentian would break through to the Immortal King realm so quickly, and was already strong enough to kill a mid-stage Immortal King like Dong Shangkuan. That's fine as well. Emperor Qianbian nodded. If Qin Wentian went to the Evergreen Kingdom, he would feel more at ease. There was the Chongqing the Great in the Evergreen Kingdom, as well as the mysterious White Emperor, as well as the Supreme Treasure, the Eternal Evergreen Tree. If the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor dared to go there to kill Qin Wentian, the Chongqing the Great might use the Eternal Evergreen Tree in his rage. If Eastern Sage didn't have any helpers, the Evergreen Emperor wouldn't dare to act recklessly in Fate Royal City. After settling the matters here, I will use the teleportation array to head to the Evergreen Immortal Empire. It has been a long time since I last saw Qing'er. Qin Wentian didn't reject the Chongqing the Great's invitation. At the same time, his heart was filled with the desire to grow even faster. Although defeating the Dongshengshan Gate had resolved the danger temporarily, he still couldn't afford to relax in the slightest. After all, there were many major characters in the eastern regions who were eyeing him covetously. Right? The Chongqing the Great nodded. After that, everyone bid their farewells. Qin Wentian thanked Emperor Yu and the others before sending them off with his gaze. After the battle, the Cloud Prefecture was exceptionally quiet. Those immortal kings who didn't leave felt their hearts trembling. At the same time, news of the outcome of the battle spread to all corners of the eastern regions. The Dongshengshan Gate gathered an immortal army and used the art of war against the immortal Qianbian Gate, occupying a total of 5 prefectures. The Cloud Prefecture was the only prefecture left. They even surrounded the Cloud Prefecture and sent out 4 armies to the immortal Qianbian Gate, raising it to flat ground. Just when everyone thought that the Dongshengshan Gate would be able to destroy the immortal Qianbian Gate with ease, the Dongshengshan Gate was actually defeated. The Dongshengshan Gate that had governed the 13 prefectures for countless years, and had deep foundations and created many armies, actually lost to the immortal Qianbian Gate, that was founded a mere 100 years ago. Such an ending was truly shocking. The strength of the immortal Qianbian Gate shook the entire eastern regions. But there were also people who speculated that the strength of the immortal Qianbian Gate was definitely because of the participation of many major powers. It wasn't just the strength of the immortal Qianbian Gate alone. After this defeat, the major powers of the 13 prefectures all understood who would be the hegemon of the 13 prefectures in the future. The name of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures would soon be changed to the 1000 Transformations 13 prefectures. The Dongshengshan Gate, which was still active in the countless particle worlds, would also be disbanded. These people were the reserve forces of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, and were the weakest among them. Many of them were at the Immortal Foundation realm, and only after passing through many rounds of selections would they have the chance to enter the core of the Immortal Sect. They didn't even have the qualifications to participate in the war, and it was impossible for them to make a comeback. A hegemon of an era had fallen in this war. To the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor, this war robbed him of everything he had. Right now, he was only left with an emperor palace as well as some women. His many descendants were all left behind in the war. Not even a single one of them could be brought back with him. Within the Dongshengshan Gate, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor sat alone on the throne in the Emperor Palace, drinking wine. His expression was so heavy that it was terrifying. At this moment, several figures walked over. They were none other than Zidi, the immortal emperor of the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom, and the others. Zidi spoke. "Can we sit down and have a drink together?" The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor inclined his head, His expression was cold as he stared at the people before him. He then spoke in anger. You guys still have the face to come and see me? Eastern Sage, your words are wrong. We have already given you a lot of strength, but we were still defeated. Could it be that you want us to interfere back then? Ziti was somewhat unhappy. He then continued. I can understand your current feelings, but an immortal war erupted between your two hegemonic powers. Everyone in the world knows about this. If we interfered, it would be the same as announcing the start of a chaotic war in the eastern regions. Didn't you hear Emperor use words? If we interfere and kill Qin Wentian, he might kill my descendants. Emperor Yu. The eyes of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor flickered with killing intent. He coldly stared at the people before him. He naturally understood the thoughts of these people. He loathed them, but what they said was right. He still needed the strength of the alliance, or he would always be alone. If not, he would always be alone. If he wanted revenge, he mustn't fall out with these people. Eastern Sage, we will think of a way for you to take revenge for this debt. Ziti spoke. How? Hunt down some insignificant people? What's the point? I want the Emperor Champion to die. I want Bai Wuya and Qin Wentian to die as well. The eyes of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor were filled with killing intent. Do you all dare to act or not? You have always wanted to destroy the Evergreen Kingdom, but you have been hesitating. Could it be that you want to wait for 100 or even 1,000 years? Naturally not. It's just that the strength we have now is still insufficient. The 9 Emperors' immortal state might be very strong, but they didn't have any major characters that died. They wouldn't send out too much of their strength. It's the same for the White Tiger people as well. What's the use of sending out a few demon emperors? If we can get all of them to participate in this war, both the Evergreen Kingdom and the Immortal Champion Gate would definitely be destroyed. Ziti coldly spoke. These two hegemonic powers were extremely strong, but they only sent out a few immortal emperors. They didn't send out any core members of their faction. What should we do then? Eastern Sage coldly asked. Unless one of their immortal emperors dies. If that's the case, things would be different. Ziti's eyes flashed with coldness. Let's wait. We need an opportunity. You shouldn't act recklessly. Most probably the Emperor Champion and the others would be on guard against you. Do your best not to act. Once you do, you have to deal a fatal blow. That's right. Eastern Sage, your existence would cause them to feel uneasy. As long as you don't appear, they wouldn't be able to rest in peace. An immortal emperor from the Tenlon Heaven Kingdom spoke. The eyes of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor flashed with coldness. This was indeed the case. Before this, he initially planned to take revenge immediately, killing everyone who came out from the Immortal Champion Gate. But now, after hearing Ziti's words, he changed his plan. If he wanted to act, he had to kill them all in a single strike. What meaning was there in killing some ant-like characters? How could this be considered revenge? Eastern Sage, actually I have a suggestion, but it's somewhat dishonorable. I wonder if you would be willing to listen to it. Ziti suddenly spoke. The Dongsheng Heaven Emperor inclined his head and stared at Ziti. Speak? I heard that the conflict between you and Qin Wentian started from a particle world, and the daughter of the Evergreen Immortal Emperor was also involved. You have been to Qin Wentian's particle world before. Ziti spoke, his words causing the eyes of the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor to flash. Back then, a battle erupted in that particle world. Qin Wentian would definitely be on guard and bring those who are related to him with him. It would be extremely difficult to act against him again in that particle world. Even if he brought his loved ones with him, think about it. He grew up in a particle world. Could it be that he has no emotions? There are still many people and powers who are related to him in that particle world. Can he bear to leave them all behind? Ziti slowly spoke. You want me to act against a particle world? Those people are of no importance to me. If I want to commit such a great sin of slaughter. Although the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor hated Qin Wentian to the bone, he still had some rationality left in him. After all, the people of a particle world could be considered innocent. There were countless lives in a particle world and they were all weak. If he wanted to destroy the particle world, the lives of the people would definitely be plunged into an abyss of misery. More importantly, committing such a great sin of slaughter wouldn't be able to kill Qin Wentian. There was no meaning to it. I didn't ask you to destroy a particle world. Why don't you send people to investigate the particle world Qin Wentian came from and investigate his background? I believe given his talent, he would definitely be extremely famous in that particle world. It wouldn't be too hard to find out. After that, you can act against him. Ziti spoke. The Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor fell silent, as though he was contemplating. Right now he would definitely be hiding from you. If you want to kill him, it would depend on whether you can throw away the face of an immortal emperor or not. I'll bid my farewell first. Ziti spoke and directly departed. On the other side, in the Immortal Qianbian Gate, after the Emperor rank battle ended and the Immortal Qianbian Gate won, Qin Wentian immediately thought of his family and friends who were sent to his particle world. Although the possibility of the Eastern Sage Immortal Emperor acting against his particle world was very low, he still had to be on guard. In one of the many particle worlds around the Azure Mystic Immortal Realms, in a certain particle world, 2 travel-worn people were currently drinking wine in an inn. Among these 2 people, one was clad in black robes. His eyes gleamed with sharpness and he looked extremely young, yet his eyes were extremely deep. The other was an old man with an unfathomable countenance. Although the old man had a smile on his face, the young man knew how powerful this old man was. I've already completed your Immortal King training. Can you agree to my conditions now? The young man asked. What do you want me to agree to? The old man laughed as he stared at the young man. Do me a favor. Seal the particle world we met in the past. The young man spoke. I initially thought that you would ask me to tell you the secret of the Immortal Palace again. The old man laughed. Ever since I met you, how many tests have I completed that you arranged for me? You keep saying that I'm not qualified. Fine, I can't be bothered to ask anymore. If I'm not qualified, so be it. If there's a chance, I will leave by myself. I don't care about your dog fart inheritance. This daddy doesn't want it anymore. The young man cursed in rage. Young man, don't be so hot-tempered. Isn't it an interesting thing to discover that the inheritances you obtained are getting stronger and stronger? Do you know what kind of dog shit luck you have? The old man spoke in a low voice. Scram. The young man couldn't endure it any longer. Chapter 1398. Many days have passed since the immortal war between the Dongshengshan Gate and the Immortal Qianbian Gate. However, the countless particle worlds in the immortal realms were still operating normally. The particle world that Qin Wentian came from was the same as well. The instant the immortal war ended, Qin Wentian immediately sent people to bring many people back to the immortal realms. This time around, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was slaughtered too miserably. Not only was his foundation destroyed, the 4 paragons who followed him all died as well. Right now, no one dared to imagine what state the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor was in. Although the probability of him implicating innocent particle worlds was extremely low, Qin Wentian still had to be on guard. However, some of the people who were sent back weren't willing to head back to the immortal realms. An example was Qin Wentian's foster father, Qin Chuan. He felt that the immortal realms weren't suitable for him. Although Qin Wentian did his best to help them change, he was still far from being able to catch up to the people of the immortal realms. Qin Chuan also didn't want to continue relying on the Immortal Qianbian Gate. Even if he went out once, he wouldn't be able to travel far. Hence, Qin Chuan chose to stay behind. Qin Wentian's elder sister Qin Yao naturally accompanied him. There were also many others who weren't used to life in the immortal realms. They didn't leave with the people of the Dongshengshan Gate sent by Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian could understand this. The particle world that Qin Wentian grew up in back then was no longer the same as it was in the past. Back then, the Dongsheng Heaven Emperor had once initiated an immortal war here, causing countless lives to be lost. Just the aftershocks of the Immortal King War had already caused the deaths of countless people. After all, the people of particle worlds weren't people of the immortal realms. They basically didn't have the ability to protect themselves. Even the slightest aftershock from the aftershocks would be supreme to them, able to instantly annihilate them. In that war, countless people died. Everyone remembered the tyrannical Dongsheng Heaven Emperor. Naturally, they also remembered the Emperor Qianbian who saved them, the white-robed immortal king Bai Wuya, as well as the legendary character of this world, Qin Wentian. If it wasn't for these people, the consequences would truly be unimaginable. The people of this particle world even hoped that Qin Wentian and the white-robed immortal king would be able to destroy the tyrannical Dongshang Heaven Emperor one day. However, many years passed. Although that war created a calamity, it actually accelerated the growth of this particle world. The people of this particle world had witnessed immortal king-level battles and personally witnessed supreme characters. They knew that there's always a sky beyond a sky. In addition, there were also some immortal kings who died. Their blood flowed on the ground, transforming into supreme treasures. The law energy from their battles scattered everywhere, transforming into ruins. From the start of that war, the particle world actually grew rapidly, giving birth to a large number of experts. In fact, some ruins created from the Immortal King War became places for experts to create. Many celestial phenomenon ascendants appeared, and there were even a few immortals who were born. If placed in the past, these immortals would be considered immortals who ruled the world. But now, everyone in this particle world knew that even immortals weren't considered much in the outside world. There were even more terrifying existences above immortals. Even the legendary character of their particle world, Qin Wentian, was already an immortal when he returned. Now that so many years have passed, it was unknown what level he had grown to. In this particle world in the Grand Xia Empire these days there wasn't much peace. In an inn, many people were drinking wine and chatting. Have you heard? Jiang Feng has become an immortal. How powerful, this supreme character who rose up all the way to becoming an immortal is truly shocking. Yeah, Jiang Feng is too terrifying. He looks like a young man yet he has already become an immortal. It's said that he has only cultivated for a few hundred years, and looks like he's only in his 20s. I wonder how many beauties are in love with him, willing to give up everything for him. How good would it be if I was as powerful as him? At that time I would be able to play with all the beauties in the world. Haha. A rough-looking man laughed. Stop dreaming. I've never heard of anyone more outstanding than Jiang Feng, let alone you. In this world, even if it's the most beautiful woman, which one of them is worthy of Jiang Feng? Someone struck a blow at him. Haha, that's right. Haven't you guys heard that the most beautiful women in the world are all pursuing Jiang Feng? Yeah, there's no one like him in the past or in the future. Someone added. Everyone was filled with praises, all of them sighing with emotion. This Jiang Feng could be said to be a legend under the heavens. Back then he comprehended his insights in a secret realm and broke through to celestial phenomenon. From then on, his cultivation soared by leaps and bounds, growing stronger and stronger. A legendary character would naturally be pursued by countless people. No one like him in the past or in the future. Aren't you exaggerating a little too much? A voice filled with disdain rang out. After that, many people turned their gazes over only to see a group of young men and women seated there. The men were handsome while the women were beautiful. One of the women had a veil covering her face, but from her back view, she was clearly a supreme beauty. The person who spoke was a young man. Upon hearing his words, someone laughed. Little fellow, you are still young. What do you know about cultivation? Jiang Feng's talent isn't something you can understand. Frog at the bottom of a well. The young man mocked, his words causing the person who spoke to laugh. Yo, this little brat is still pretending to be profound. Why don't you tell me who can be compared to Jiang Feng? How could Jiang Feng have his current accomplishments? The young man asked. Naturally, it's because of his talent and fortuitous encounters. Someone replied. Where did his fortuitous encounters begin? The young man asked again. What do you want to say? His fortuitous encounters were the remnants of an immortal war back then. Although many years have passed and maybe you guys weren't even born then, have you already forgotten about that immortal war? Also, there was a true legend who came from our particle world back then. How glorious was he back then? He grew up in Chu, a remote place in Grand Xia, and ventured out into the outside world. He cultivated for less than 100 years, and when he returned, he was already an immortal. In fact, there were many unimaginably powerful characters who fought for him. What can Jiang Feng be compared to him? The young man's voice was solemn, recounting the legend. That proud gaze of his seemed to be talking about himself. Everyone fell silent for a moment. After which, a younger person retorted, How old are you? How would you know what happened back then? I've never witnessed the so-called legend before. How can I know if it's real or fake? Maybe it's just an exaggeration. But Zhang Feng is a true legend. Who can be compared to him? He's right. In front of that legend, Zhang Feng, a middle-aged man laughed. He's still far from being comparable. A dispute arose in the inn. Some of the younger people who worshipped Zhang Feng couldn't bear to see their idol being humiliated. As for those who had cultivated for a longer period of time and had personally witnessed the immortal war back then, they would never be able to forget it. Even if some of them were still young back then, they would never be able to forget it. Who said that Zhang Feng is inferior to Qin Wentian? At this moment, a voice so gentle that it could seep into one's bones rang out, after which, a group of silhouettes walked into the inn. Instantly, the gazes of everyone landed on the beautiful woman in the center. Just a single glance and they were unable to shift their gazes away. That was a woman with charm that seeped into one's bones. Her skin was as white as jade, and her charming eyes could captivate souls. Just a smile from her beautiful eyes would cause everyone to feel as though their souls would be hooked away. She was an extremely famous beauty in the world, and Linglong. Many people referred to her as the #1 beauty in the world. And everyone knew that Linglong was in love with Zhang Feng. After Zhang Feng became an immortal, Linglong announced to the world that Zhang Feng would become her man. Why would she appear here? Many people felt puzzled. I heard that a phenomenon appeared in the Granxia Empire, and it's rumored that a supreme treasure would be born. Zhang Feng must have already arrived. Also, recently many mysterious experts have appeared in Granxia, all of them extremely powerful. And Linglong must have come here because of Zhang Feng. The hearts of the spectators mused. It's just that the era is different. If Zhang Feng was born in the era of Qin Wentian, who says he wouldn't be more outstanding compared to him? And Linglong smiled. What do you guys think? The hearts of everyone trembled when they saw Linglong's smile. How would they have any intention to refute her words? Fairy Anne's words are naturally correct. Fairy Anne must have a very deep understanding of Zhang Feng. Since she said so, it should be the case. Many people voiced out their agreement, and Linglong smiled in satisfaction. Vixen. The young man from before spoke in a low voice. After that, numerous gazes turned to him as cold light flashed in the eyes of many. Impudent! How dare you speak to Fairy Anne in such a manner? Which clan's brat dares to act so atrociously outside? And Linglong glanced over, her gaze landing on the maiden beside the young man as she giggled. I was wondering who it was. So it's little sister Yuro. I heard that little sister Yuro's clan has a deep relationship with Qin Wentian. No wonder this little brother spoke up for Qin Wentian. Oyang Yuro. The gazes of everyone turned to the veiled maiden as their hearts trembled. The #1 beauty of Granxia, Oyang Yuro? This was a supreme beauty comparable to Linglong. Oyang Yuro turned around and removed her veil, revealing a pure and beautiful countenance. Her beauty was flawless, untainted by dust, causing the people in the inn to exclaim in shock. They felt that this was a feast for their eyes. I heard that Sister Linglong has a vast network of friends and knows everything under the heavens. Truly impressive. Oyang Yuro softly spoke. The people she associates with are all men. The young man beside her spat out hatefully, and Linglong casually laughed as she stared at the young man. I heard that Qin Wentian's old friend is named Ouyang Quangsheng. If I'm not wrong, he should be Sister Yuro's uncle, right? At least you have some knowledge. The young man inclined his head as he spoke. Everyone understood. No wonder they spoke up for Qin Wentian. So it turned out that there was a layer of relationship between them. At this moment, the black-robed young man who had been sitting in a corner of the inn inclined his head and glanced in Ouyang Yuro's direction. A strange light flickered in his eyes. Ouyang Yuro referred to Ouyang Quangsheng as her uncle. In that case, that lass who loved to follow Ouyang Quangsheng all those years ago, was she the descendant of Ouyang Xiaolu? That girl's descendant had already grown into a slender and elegant woman. She was a great beauty. Several silhouettes walked into the inn. Among them, there were some who had their auras retracted yet were extremely terrifying. Others might not be able to sense how strong they were, but the black-robed young man could. Some of the things happening in this particle world seemed somewhat abnormal. That rumor of a treasure appearing was also abnormal.